utmost respect for this great institution, having served here for 5 years between 2017 and 2022, and I appear here in a very nostalgic moment that I'm back in the house where I stayed for 5 years, despite the fact that I've come under difficult circumstances. Mr. Speaker, maybe the sound people, is that okay now? Mr. Speaker, sir, and all members, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity.
I hope, Your Excellency, you have been advised by your lawyers that you are here to respond to specific issues in the motion.
I have my advice.
And not to talk generally.
I know.
Yeah, so rules of relevance will still apply to you as they apply to all members.
Mr. Speaker, the motion before this great house alleges that 2 years ago, since assuming office, I have acquired property and wealth whose estimated value of 5.2 billion shillings. A significant number of properties to which this sum of 5.2 billion is erroneously and maliciously attached belongs to my late brother, the Right Honorable James Gachagua, and as demonstrated by his will, a copy of which is attached. The fact as follows. Olive Garden, my response. The allegations that I own the Olive Garden Hotel is false. The truth is that Olive Garden Hotel used to belong to my deceased brother, the Right Honorable James Gachagua, and therefore has never been my property. This is information that most of you may be aware as it is in public domain. Upon his demise, my late brother left a will in which, in his recognition that I can take care of his family, he appointed me as one of the executors of his estate. In the said will, my late brother directed that the hotel should be sold, among other properties and proceeds distributed as per the will. I'm also listed as a beneficiary together with other persons named therein. In accordance with these instructions, the hotel was sold by the executors to a third party. Owing to the above, I do not own the hotel and have never owned it contrary to accusation in the motion. For the benefit of this august house and the general public, I have annexed to this response copies of the following supporting documents. My late brother's will, sale agreement dated 17th May 2023, an official search for Olive Garden Hotel Limited. Mr. Speaker, Vipingo Beach Resort, just as in Olive Garden, above this allegation is also false. Vipingo Beach Resort belongs to the estate of the late James Gachagua. For the benefit of this house and the general public, I have attached annexed to this response copy of the official search for Vipingo Beach Resort Limited, confirming that the hotel is still in the name of my little brother's estate. Queen's Gate Service Apartments. The allegation is also false, as the property belonged to my late brother. Queen's Gate Service Apartments, registered in the name of Vipingo Beach Resort Limited, was sold to Cooperative Bank of Kenya Limited, Staff Retirement Benefits Scheme, as evidenced by the agreement for the dated 4th May 2022. And a transfer dated 5th October 2022, marked Annex RG6. Land parcel Ruguru, Kiamariga 2023 in Madeira East constituency, which have originally constructed a helicopter landing facility. My response is, I do confirm that I own the above reference property, which is approximately 2.5 acres in size, and which I have planted napier grass for my dairy cows. I purchased the land in the year 2023 for 3.5 million from farm proceeds coming from my dairy farm. I have read through the motion and there is no iota of evidence adduced of the impropriety in the way I acquired this small property. Finally, on this matter, I wish to confirm that there is no helicopter landing facility for this particular parcel on the motion. This part is also false. I attach a copy of the agreement for purchase of this property marked Annexure RG7. 40 acres of land purchased in Kakuret within Kabraine in Nyeri County. My response: I confirm that I own a property, having bought it in 2015, a time when I was not a state officer. I had not even been elected as Member of Parliament from the Honorable Joroge Wainaina, Member of Parliament for Kenny, who is present in his house, or I'm not sure whether he's present. Therefore, this property I purchased 10 years ago, and not 2 years ago during my tenure as Deputy President, and as indicated in the motion, the allegation is false. I have read through the motion, and there is no iota of evidence adduced of any impropriety in the way I acquired this property. For the benefit of this August House and the general public, I have annexed to this response copy of the agreement for sale and purchase of this property marked as Annexure RG8. 80 acres of land in Meru County. For the record, I wish to confirm that I do not own 80 acres of land in Meru. This allegation is false. However, in the spirit of full disclosure, I would like to confirm that I have purchased 29 acres of land in Meru, the land of my mother, which I bought on around 9 February 2024 through a loan granted to me by Solution Circle Limited, which I am a member. This said circle has a charge registered against the title, which it continues to hold as security until I fully repay the loan. For the benefit of the August House and the general public, I have annexed to this response copies of the agreement of sale marked RG9 and a letter dated 15 July 2024 from Solution Circle Limited confirming that they financed the purchase of the property marked Annexure RG10. Dairy farm in Nyandarua County. My response is I do not have a dairy farm in Nyandarua County, therefore this allegation is false. The land in Nyandarua has no single animal. Companies. The motion alleges there are 22 companies owned by my family members and which have been used to massively launder money and conceal proceeds of crime, corruption, and benefit from influence peddling. My response is the mover of the motion has listed the 22 companies associated with me and has alleged that they have been used to massively launder money and conceal proceeds of crime, corruption, and benefit from influence peddling. I've carefully gone through the motion and I have not seen any evidence to support or prove the allegations therein. It is not clear to me how to respond without having seen any evidence incriminating the companies. I would like to be clear that these companies have not been involved in any illegal activities, and I believe that is why the mover of the motion has not tabled any evidence of impropriety with respect to the companies. It does appear to me that the mover of the motion was so meticulous to get all the companies associated with me and my family, and I believe that he also had evidence of illegality by the companies, he would have shared or tabled that for the record. However, it is not possible to get evidence of illegality where there is none. Having said the above, allow me just to mention a few companies because there are many. Regarding Gachagua Foundation, this is a foundation I incorporated in 2022, and I clarify that the foundation is a non-profit making entity with the sole objective of uplifting the lives of less privileged in society. This foundation therefore does not trade, and honorable members, you are aware that by law, a foundation cannot be used to trade. Since incorporation, the foundation has received a total of 12 million shillings, which has been utilized as per the schedule marked Annexure RG11, which is paying school fees for children in Pwani University and other universities across the country. Dorcas Regarding Foundation, because she is not here to defend herself, this is a foundation founded by my wife, Pastor Dorcas, incorporated immediately we came into office as a non-profit making entity for the sole purpose of rehabilitation of drug addicts, widows, single mothers, and orphans. A brief write-up of this foundation, together with its achievements, is annexed herewith as Annexure RG12. It is in public domain that Pastor Dorcas have been around the country doing work of rehabilitating drug addicts and helping others who have challenges. There are many other companies that are here, but I don't, because this is a house of record, I don't want to bother the members of parliament of going through all of them. I want to probably only talk about Wamunyoro Investments Limited, named after my village in Wamunyoro. This company was incorporated 21 years ago before I became deputy president, and it's a company that holds family property. Mr. Speaker, sir, I've been accused of exerting influence on officials in the Ministry of Lands to issue an allotment letter to Wamunyoro Investments Limited and using the fraudulently acquired documents in support of a court case. My response, Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, I wish to confirm that Wamunyoro Investments Limited has never been issued with any letter of allotment for land in Embakasi. Wamunyoro Investments Limited purchased this land from a third party in the year 2012. The company's ownership of this property has been confirmed through two legal processes. One, a case was filed before the National Land Commission in the year 2016, adjudicated, and a determination was made that this property belongs to Wamunyoro Investments Limited. That was long before I became the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Again, a matter was filed in High Court, case ELC, case number E242 of 2022, which was filed before I became Deputy President. All the documents filed in support of this case were filed in court before I became Deputy President, and no documents have been filed by myself in court upon becoming Deputy President. This being the case, it is not true that I have used my office as Deputy President to manufacture documents filed in this matter. The High Court found that this land legally belongs to Wamunyoro Investment Limited and issued the appropriate direction. This matter has since been challenged in the Court of Appeal. I invite any honorable member who may want to be enjoined in this case to have the liberty to do so. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have been accused in the irregular procurement of mosquito nets at a cost of 3.7 billion. In response to paragraph 45 of ground 7 at page 23 and 42, paragraph 78 and ground 11 and page 36, 37 or 42 of the impeachment motion, I wish to respond as follows. It is not true, as claimed in paragraph 3 of the witness affidavit of Andrew Mulwa, that I was involved in the KEMSA 3.7 billion irregular procurement of malaria nets, either directly or through proxy. Further, Shobika Impex Limited was not awarded the subject tender as the acting director of procurement, Dr. Justice Kinoti, by letter 5th May 2023, formally notified Shobika Impex Limited that its bid was unsuccessful because its tender security was not paginated and the tender was hence non-responsive. That is clear at paragraph 4 of the witness affidavit of Andrew Mulwa. He contradicts himself by claiming that on 11 July 2023, I pressured him to surrender the original bid board, yet by the letter dated 5th May 2023, KEMSA had requested for collection of the original bid. Thus, there was no cause to pressure to be exerted on Mr. Mulwa for any other purpose. I am aware of a foreign company known as Shobika Impex Private Limited, domiciled in India, and which appointed Crystal Kenya Limited as its local agent in the year 2014, that is 8 years before Gachagua became the deputy president. To date, Crystal Kenya Limited has complied with the agency terms between itself and Shobika Impex Private Limited, annexed hereto and marked as Annex RG18 in an appointment agency letter by Shobika Impex Limited in the year 2014. Sometime in 2023, Kenya Medical Supplies Authority advertised tender number GFATM Mall NFM 2022-2023 for supply of long-lasting insecticidal nets using the international open tendering method of procurement on behalf of the Global Fund. The monies for supply of the nest, as per my understanding, was a pure grant from the Global Fund. I am aware that Shobika Impex Limited still participates in doing business with and has not been debarred by the Global Fund to date. I believe being technically qualified to provide and deliver the goods subject of the tender document, having the financial ability to do so, and without their participation or assistance from Crystal Kenya Limited, Shobika Impex Private Limited independently participated and submitted in its bid in response to the subject tender pursuant to an invitation by KEMSA. Having not participated in the subject tender, Crystal Kenya Limited did not submit any of the documents in response to the subject tender. Specifically, Crystal Kenya Limited did not submit a bid board or tender security in its name in response to the subject tender. It is therefore not true that Crystal Kenya submitted a fake bid board with an intention to fraudulently acquire public property. It is also not true that with my sons I used Crystal Kenya to massively launder money, conceal proceeds of crime, engage in corruption, and benefit from influence peddling. Subsequently, by the letter 5th May 2023, KEMSA notified Shobika Impex Limited that it was not successful because the tender security was not paginated, and requested Shobika Impex Private Limited to collect its bid security from the procurement office immediately. Annexed here to and marked Annexure RG19 is a said letter by KEMSA dated 5th May 2023. However, EACC commenced investigations of the subject tender, and on conclusion of the investigation by EACC and the Senate on the subject tender, KEMSA CEO Terry Ramadhani, who had been suspended on this issue, was appointed Kenya's Deputy High Commissioner in New Delhi, India by President William Ruto. Thereafter, Crystal Kenya Limited, a Shobika Impex Limited agent in Kenya, followed up in the release of Shobika Impex Private Limited's bid board tender security on behalf of Shobika. Annexed here to and marked Annexure RG20 is an email from Shobika Impex Private Limited email addressed to Crystal Kenya Limited, together with a letter of even date confirming that Crystal Kenya Limited had authority to collect their bid board. KEMSA was mandated to immediately release the bid board tender security upon determining that Shobika Impex Private Limited was unsuccessful in the subject tender, and that is why they requested that the same be collected from its procurement office. KEMSA did so, as can be seen in its letter dated 11 July 2023, annexed here to and marked Annexure RG21 in the said letter by KEMSA dated 11 July 2023. Mr. Speaker, noting that Shobika Impex Private Limited was not successful, it did not supply any goods, and it did not receive any public funds in payment thereof with respect to the subject tender. Accordingly, I have not committed any crime under Section 45(1), 46, 47A3, and 48(1) of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, and Section 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the Proceeds of Crime and Money Laundering Act. Further, I have not breached Section 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, for I did not bully any state or public officer with respect to the subject tender, and specifically, no evidence has been tendered to support the allegation at paragraph 78C of ground 11 at page 37 of 42 of the motion, which alleges that I summoned procurement officers in ministries and institutions, instructing them to direct procurement of goods and services in a specific manner. I have been accused of unnecessary and expensive renovation of the official residence of the Deputy President in Karen and Mombasa. Mr. Speaker, firstly, I would like to state that funds for the renovation of the official residence were approved and allocated by this Honorable House based on the fact that the premises had been neglected for a very long time when Dr. William Ruto was Deputy President. It cannot be fair that this House would proceed to impeach me because of an action that these honorable members have approved by way of appropriating monies for the renovations. Mr. Speaker, The contract for the refurbishment of the official residence of the Deputy President, dated 22nd December 2022, was signed by Honorable Katole Metito, the Controller of State House, Office of the President, and Agrobic Investment Limited that was awarded the tender, because the Controller of State House at that time was the accounting officer in charge of the Office of the Deputy President. The report of the Auditor General, Mrs. Nancy Gadongo, dated 24th January 2024, on the Executive Office of the President for the year ended 30th June 2023, gave the opinion confirming that due compliance with the Public Finance Management Act 2012, the report is annexed herewith and marks as Annex RG 23. I would also like to add that the Deputy President, as Deputy President, I'm not involved in procurement processes of my office, whether directly or indirectly. I would also like to state that I do not know the company, Agropric Investments Limited, which undertook the renovations. I do not know the directors and the company. I did not participate in the tendering or supervising of the same. The motion dated 26 September 2024 alleges that on 29 January 2023, 45 million Kenya shillings was transferred to Bayani Enterprises Limited, which is alleged to be a special purpose vehicle used by me to siphon public funds. No evidence whatsoever is contained in the motion showing that the said company is in any way connected to me or that I have any beneficial interest in the said company, which I am neither a director or a shareholder. I categorically refute the allegation, which is false and unfounded. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to confirm that I'm not a director or a shareholder, directly or indirectly, of the company called Agrobrick Investments Limited, and I do not know its shareholders or its directors. Mr. Speaker, there is an allegation of dubiously acquiring substantial portion of the sum of 100 billion paid to Lusona Events Limited. My response, Mr. Speaker, is just like in the above other matter. I have read the motion and I would like to state that there is no evidence that this company is linked to me. I wish to categorically state that I have no beneficial interest in the said company, and neither am I affiliated in any way to the directors and shareholders of the said company. I would also like to state that I'm not a director or a shareholder of the company and do not know its shareholders or its directors. I do not sit in a tendering committee. I am not the accounting officer of the Office of the Deputy President. I have also not had any complaints against the manner in which the company undertook the work. I am unable to confirm the allegations on funds withdrawn from the account of the company, since I am not a signatory to its account. I am not associated with the company in any way whatsoever. Mr. Speaker, the motion dated 26 September 2024 claims that I am reasonably suspected to be the principal beneficiary of the dubious transactions. However, Mr. Speaker, no evidence has been adduced or annexed to the motion to give credence to the allegations or suspicion. I categorically refute acquiring or benefiting from any funds paid to Lusona Events Limited, and therefore the allegation is false and unfounded. Mr. Speaker, I have been accused of siphoning money through St. Nicholas Rehabilitation and Industrial Training Institute Limited. My response, Mr. Speaker, is that the motion dated 26 September 2024 makes the claim that a payment of 21 million was made to a company called St. Nicholas Rehabilitation Center and Psychiatric Hospital. Then subsequently payment was made to Umalari Motors Limited. The motion claims that it is suspected that the entire transaction was used by me to siphon public funds and the payments typify money laundering transaction. I am not a director or a shareholder of this company, and I've never received any payments from this company. Similarly, I'm not affiliated or related to the shareholders and directors of the two companies. No evidence has been annexed to the motion showing that I was a beneficiary of the funds paid as alleged. I wish to point out that I'm not the accounting officer in the Office of the Deputy President, and I'm not aware that the payments made to this company by the office. The allegation is therefore false and unfounded. Mr. Speaker, there is an accusation of alleged sensational but false accusations against the Honorable Lady Justice Esther Minor. My response, Mr. Speaker, it is alleged in the special notice motion on ground 4 on page 14 at a gross violation of the Constitution that I publicly attacked the Honorable Lady Justice Esther Maina and forcefully threatened to bring action against her. First, Article 160, Sub-Article 5 of the Constitution provides that the judge cannot be found liable in a court of law for actions taken in good faith in lawful performance of their work. This provision is not a bar on freedom of expression guaranteed under Article 33 of the Constitution, nor a bar of the right to seek redress for legal wrongs simply because a wrong is committed by a judge. The exit multiple legal fora in which to take action against a judge for any actions that are not lawful. My statements were protected speech consequent to a decision by the learned judge in a matter involving my personal assets, which I disagreed with and found to be wholly unfair. The matter having been concluded at that stage, my criticism of the decision was not sub judice, nor in any manner prohibited by law. While I respected the ruling of the learned judge, I was in absolute disagreement with it. Contrary to the assertions in the special motion, I did not falsely threaten to bring action against the learned judge. I took actual legal action available to every citizen of Kenya under Article 160B, subsection 2 of the Constitution, which allows any person to petition the Judicial Service Commission for removal of any judge and filed a legal complaint before the Judicial Service Commission, JSC, in March 2024. The complaint being live before JSC, discussion of the conduct of the learned judge in the said manner here would be sub judice. A copy of the complaint is annexed herewith and marked Annexure RG 24. Mr. Speaker, I have been accused of diverting materials meant for construction of Kilifi Malindi Highway to tarmac a private road to Vipingo Beach Resort. My response, Mr. Speaker, I reiterate that Vipingo Beach Resort is registered in the name of the estate of my late brother, Honorable James Gachagua. Number two, the facts are as follows. King Charles III visited Kenya between 30th October 2023 and 30th November 2024. During his state visit, one of the designated places where King Charles III was to visit was Kuruitu Marine Conservancy, which shares a road with Vipingo Beach Resort. I have annexed a copy of the program for the state visit to Kenya by King Charles III, marked as Annex RG 25, which at page 13 on items 63 and 64 shows his departure and arrival at Kuruitu Marine Conservancy. There are several media reports confirming the visit by King Charles III to Kuruitu Marine Conservancy. I have annexed extracts of the media reports by the Star newspaper dated 7 November and by African News marked as Annexure RG 26. My understanding is that the road to Kuruitu Marine Conservancy was upgraded in respect of this visit, which also to benefit the local community, including amenities like Cheriani Secondary School, Cheriani Primary School, a mosque and a public market as part of the corporate social responsibility. I wish to point out that the alleged road, that is Takaungu Shariani Vipingo, is a public road and not a private road leading to any property associated with the Deputy President, but a public road. Mr. Speaker, I have been accused of undermining the President and the Cabinet by allegedly making contradictory public statements from the position taken by Cabinet regarding the evacuation of the people residing along the Nairobi River. My response, Mr. Speaker, is that Article 147 of the Constitution provides that the Deputy President shall be the principal assistant of the President and shall deputize the President in execution of the President's functions. Article 28, which states that every person has inherent dignity and the right to have the dignity respected and protected. Article 29C, Mr. Speaker, states that every person has the right to freedom and security of the person, which includes the right not to be subjected to any form of violence from either public or private sources. Section 15G1 of the Land Act states that notwithstanding any provisions to the contrary in this act or in any other written law, all eviction shall be carried out in a strict accordance with the following procedures. Be preceded by proper identification of this taking part in eviction or demolitions. Be preceded by the presentation of formal authorizations for action. C, where groups of people are involved, government officials or their representatives be present during an eviction. D, be carried out in a manner that respects the dignity, right to life and security of those affected. E, include special measures to ensure effective protection to groups of people who are vulnerable, such as women, children, the elderly, and persons with disabilities, including special measures to ensure that there is no arbitrary deprivation of property or possessions as a result of the eviction. This includes mechanisms to protect property and possessions left behind involuntarily from destruction, to respect the principles of necessity and proportionality during the use of force, and give the affected persons the first priority to demolish and salvage their property. Critically, our Constitution provides at 147(2) that first the Deputy President shall perform the functions conferred by this Constitution and any other functions assigned by the President. Pursuant to Article 3 of the Constitution, I, as well as every other citizen of Kenya, and state or public officers have an obligation to respect, uphold, and defend this Constitution in performing any of my functions. This, the national values and principles of governance contained in Article 10 of the Constitution, by those state organs, public officers, and all persons, including myself as Deputy President, wherever we make or implement public policy decisions. In addition to this matter, Mr. Speaker, these national values and procedures include the rule of law, democracy and participation of the people, human dignity, equity, social justice, inclusiveness, equality, human rights, non-discrimination, and protection of the marginalized. Adherence to these principles become extremely important when we as state officers are contemplating legal evacuation of citizens with a duty to avoid inhuman forced eviction that will be contrary to our Constitution and international law. While campaigning with President William Ruto, and subsequently when I was sworn in as Deputy President, the President and I promised as a key pillar of the Kenya Kwanza government that there will be no forced or unlawful evictions, and that all evictions will be human and entail legal compensation. Mr. Speaker, the Office of the Deputy President has undertaken extensive engagement with all parties in regard to cabinet decisions on eviction, which I fully support, including the Nairobi River, which is an entity under the Office of the Deputy President and the County Government of Nairobi. Adherence to these principles become extremely important when we, as state officers, are contemplating legal evacuation of citizens with a duty to avoid inhuman forced evictions that will be contrary to our Constitution and international law. Guideline number 6 of the United Nations General Assembly Guidelines for the implementation of the rights to adequate housing prohibits forced evictions, and that the state should ensure that any eviction under domestic law are fully compliant with international law. The guidelines further require meaningful engagement with communities to ensure that the rights of residents are implemented cooperatively without the need for eviction procedures or police enforcement. Of government directives on the eviction, save for the fact that on being informed that the persons residing along Nairobi River would be evicted and paid 10,000 shillings only, which I and many other Kenyans felt was inadequate compensation for eviction. I insisted that the government should abide by the constitutional dictates and international norms while implementing any cabinet decisions, including eviction, and maintain the dignity of the citizens of Kenyans facing eviction. My statements did not and cannot be construed to undermine the President by insisting that people should not be evicted inhumanly and without adequate compensation. Mr. Speaker, I've been accused of undermining devolution by allegedly holding a meeting in Nairobi Wakulima Market. The motion alleges that on 28 September 2024, I unlawfully interfered with the running of the Nairobi City County government by holding a public rally where I allegedly incited citizens against lawful directives of the county government on planning and allocation of markets. My response, Mr. Speaker, is that the motion alleges that on 20 September 2024, I unlawfully interfered with the running of the Nairobi City County government by allegedly inciting citizens against lawful directives. Article 6(2) of the Constitution provides that the government at national and county levels are distinct and interdependent and shall conduct their mutual relations on the basis of consultation and cooperation. This being the case, it cannot be said that there is a violation of the Constitution when someone from the national government makes a comment on matters relating to county government. The traders had sought me out to intervene and request the governor on their behalf to dialogue with them and seek a solution to the grievances with regard to the relocation of markets. I request that a video annexed RG Video 3 be played for the benefit of members to say what I said. Please play the video for us.
Tukakubaliana ya kwamba akiwa gavana wa Nairobi, Rais William Ruto akiweko, mdogo wake, wafanyabiashara wetu watapata nafasi ya kufanya kazi yao. Na mimi nataka kuomba kwa heshima, wale wote ambao tumepatiwa nafasi ya uongozi na Wakenya, tukumbuke ya kwamba tulipata nafasi ya kuongoza kupitia kwa kura ya wananchi. Tukumbuke ya kwamba wakubwa wetu, wadosi wetu ni Wakenya, na hakuna siku tutaweza geuka Wakenya. Ndio walitupatia nafasi ya uongozi. Si nyinyi mlituandika kazi? Kwa hivyo mimi niseme ya kwamba niliuliza gavana mketi chini, kuwe na mazungumzo, kuwe na maelewano. Watu ni wananchi na wananchi ni watu ya kusikizwa. Mimi niko hapa kumhakikishia ya kwamba nimemuuliza gavana kwa heshima, na mimi sina kiburi. Mimi namuomba akiwa kiongozi wetu hapa Nairobi, asikuwe mtu ya kugeuka watu walimchagua. Mimi nimeomba na nimemwambia yeye akubali aketi chini na kamati hii soko ime...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My counsel has just drawn my attention that in my earlier explanation on Nairobi River, I have a video 1 and 2 that I would like you to play so that I buttress my point on what I meant. Please, video 1 and 2.
People of Kenya to work hard. We don't have a choice. Once we try to fix this economy and create a good working environment where we don't criminalize enterprise, where ordinary Kenyans are allowed to work, where businessmen are not harassed by KRA, where goods belonging to the people of Kenya will never again be touched by overzealous public servants. Where again poor people will never again be evicted in brutal evictions by state agencies. And I say, freedom is here.
Now, the number of fatalities from the ongoing forcible eviction by the government has risen to 3, with another tragic loss in Mathare on Monday. An 18-year-old boy died as a bulldozer brought down a church in the area just moments after President William Ruto left. The young man, who was assisting in salvaging the church's belongings, became a casualty of the demolition. Earlier on Saturday, 2 individuals lost their lives in Mukuru kwa Ruben during a similar eviction exercise. Ben Kirui reports.
Monday evening, the ongoing forcible evictions in flood-prone areas tragically ended yet another life. The 18-year-old Ian Otieno lost his life in Mathare moments after President William Ruto left the area where he had been assessing the effects of floods. Bulldozers descended on homes near riverbanks, flattening structures marked for demolition. Winnie Makinda, Ian's mother, struggled to comprehend the loss of her son, a candidate in this year's KCSE.
Wakaambia mtu atingatinga usiangushe hiyo ukuta. Kuna hapo ndani kuna watoto wa watu. Wacha kuangusha hapo ndani kuna watoto wa watu. Akaambia wamama waache kumpigia kelele.
Reports indicate that Ian Otieno was trying to salvage church properties when the bulldozer brought down the wall, leading to his sudden demise.
Driver wa tingatinga vile tu alianza kubomoa hata mara ya kwanza huko mbele, alikuwa tu anakani kama hata watu wakimwambia ngojea watu watoe vitu hataki kusikia.
Nilichimba hivi, mtoto wangu alikuwa anataka kutoroka, sawa. Unasikia alishika mtoto wangu na hiyo kitu hapa. Mtoto wangu akienda hivi, mtoto wangu ana hivi.
His death led to demonstrations by residents, prompting police intervention. The law enforcers lobbed tear gas canisters to disperse rioting residents.
Watu wakachukua mwili tena tuonyeshe maskari yenyewe wametulia mtoto. Maskari kutuona kwa gate wakaanza kutoa gun, wakaanza kulipua shoot.
Residents insist they will comply with government orders to vacate houses along riparian lands only if provided with alternative housing solutions. Saturday's demolitions in Mukuru kwa Ruben claimed 2 lives and injured 3 others, sparking outrage among residents who blamed the government for forcible evictions despite many not yet being relocated. Last week, the government mandated the evacuation of all residents from risky areas within 48 hours, including those near dams, those in areas prone to mudslides, and Kenyans residing on riparian lands. Ben Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Hakuna tena mambo ya evictions katika Nairobi. Kama kutakuwa na maneno, ni maneno ya relocation ambayo itakuwa ni kwa utaratibu bila ya mwananchi kuvunjiwa nyumba. Uwezi kutoka nyumbani alafu unarudi jioni unakuta masufuria barabarani na blanketi sijui imekaa wapi. That one will not happen again. We want to make sure that we are an orderly, humane society that respects the right of everybody, irrespective of who they are or irrespective of their financial status. We are all equal before the Constitution. Tumekubaliana watu wa Nairobi? Vijana tumekubaliana?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That was President William Ruto talking the same language as his deputy, that brutal and forceful evictions have no place under this administration. We have seen a video of brutal eviction. We have seen young children crying in tears. The deputy president is being accused of undermining his boss by just doing what his boss said, that we should never forcibly, brutally evict the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, the leadership of Nairobi business traders approached me sometime in March 2024 at the official residence to discuss multiple issues affecting business and requested engagement in the solution and intervention on these issues. Consequent to this meeting, I directed that short, medium, and long-term strategies be undertaken, coordinated by the Office of the Deputy President, to address the issues raised that cut across various agencies, including KRA, Kenya Post Authority, Anti-Counterfeit Authority, Kenya Bureau of Standards, National Police Service, and the Kenya Copyright Board. On 11th April 2024, the Small Traders and Government Agencies Technical Committee, coordinated by my office, held a meeting to discuss issues raised by the small traders, including Muthurwa Market, attended by the Office of the Deputy President staff, in a supportive role in keeping with the draft framework of cooperation and engagement between the government, the Nairobi City County government, and Nairobi business traders. Subsequent this, Mr. Speaker, it's clear that my office have been having meetings with the governor of Nairobi on various matters affecting the people of Nairobi, and hence the Deputy President cannot be accused of undermining devolution. Mr. Speaker, I've been accused of undermining devolution by allegedly holding meetings to fight alcohol. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, if the House took it that I say the House is a theater of the absurd. I was talking about this specific charge of undermining devolution by holding meetings to fight alcohol to be discussed in this House. That to me is what I thought that moment. If it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, that would be the theater of the absurd. I did not attribute in any way by trying to demean this House that I sat for 5 years, by calling it the theater of the absurd. But this particular charge, Mr. Speaker, drug and alcohol problem in Kenya has been on the increase, and many of our youth have become addicted to alcohol and their lives destroyed because it causes them to drop out of school and start engaging in petty crime to look for money to buy alcohol. I'm a strong advocate for youth rehabilitation from alcohol and substance abuse, which I continue to encourage and support in order to save our future. With regard to alcohol control and regulation, I wish to state that I have held several meetings with the governors in Meru, Chuka, in Mombasa, in Nakuru, in Nyeri, and the efforts that President William Ruto asked me to lead in eradication of illicit brew has been very successful, and we have been working with the governors and county assemblies who have been developing legislation on the control of licensing of alcoholic drinks. If there is one program that has had the best working relationship between county governments and the national government, it is this particular program. I'm a bit emotive about illicit alcohol because I lost my brothers. One who was a medical doctor to alcohol, another who was a farmer to alcohol. I take it passionately. I don't know who complained about this particular charge. I have not seen evidence of any complaint, and I have not had any person in Kenya complaining that the Deputy President is undermining with the devolution by leading the war on illicit brews and drug abuse. Whatever this House decides tonight and the other subsequent House, whatever happens to regard Gachagua, whether he's in or out of office, this war must continue and must be won for the sake of our children. I want us to watch video number 4, RG4.
Leaders, those of us who have been elected, Madam Waiguru, Governor Kahiga, Badirisha, Kangata, Wamatangi, what shall we tell our people? Where are we? What shall we tell the people who elected us? When we meet them, what shall we tell them? When our children got wiped out by alcohol and drugs, where are we? We'll have nothing to say. Dede Nyoro, Kimani Ichung'wa, Madenge, mutaambia watu nini? Mukami, mutaambia watu nini? So please, this forum here today, let us be open and candid. Speak from your heart. Let us know what ails us. What is it must we do? We have the support of the president, and he is waiting. He has told me by 7 p.m. today, he wants a report. He cannot accept this situation. He cannot. Neither can I. and none of you should accept this situation. It is not right, it is not fair, it is not acceptable. We must deal with it as leaders. And we are here, we are all leaders. As an OCS, you are a leader. That's why you have been given that responsibility. As an ACC, you are a leader. County Commissioner, wewe ni kiongozi. DCIO, wewe ni kiongozi. Sisi ni viongozi. Na juu ya hayo, sisi ni wazazi. Tafadhalini, tukubaliane, tutafute suluhisho. Na tukipata, tuende tufanye kazi. It is possible, it is doable, it is something that we can do.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's very clear that the meeting had all governors, members of parliament who are present here today, policemen, everybody, and we are all in agreement that the war must be won. It cannot, but the deputy president should be impeached for leading the war on alcohol. Sensational statements against the National Intelligence Service, its Director General, and officers. Mr. Speaker, during the assumption of office, I took an oath of allegiance in the following terms. Oath or solemn affirmation of allegiance to the President, Deputy President. In full realization of the high calling, I assume as Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, I do swear solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Kenya, that I will obey, preserve, protect, and defend this Constitution of Kenya, as by law established, and all other laws of the Republic, that I will protect and uphold the sovereignty, integrity, and the dignity of the Kenyan people. So help me God. That is the oath that I took in Kasarani. Article 239, Article 3 of the Constitution provides that in performing their functions and accessing their powers, the national security organs and every member of the national security organ shall not act in a partisan manner, further in the interest of a political party or cause, or prejudice a political interest or political cause that is legitimate under this Constitution. Article 239, sub-article 5 of the Constitution provides the national security organs are subordinate to civilian authority. In relation to this allegation, I wish to state that the National Intelligence Service holds a very critical role in ensuring the safety and security of our country. They are responsible for gathering intelligence and share it with all our law enforcement agencies to ensure that the country is safe at all times. Consequently, when the country was caught flat-footed with regard to the scope and extent of the public's dissatisfaction with the Finance Bill 2024, which degenerated in a Gen Z protest, it pointed to the failure of the National Intelligence Service in carrying out its mandate. I am persuaded that the National Intelligence Service ought to have known beforehand that the public was completely opposed to the finance bill, and they ought to have briefed the president before the protest began, and this would have caused a change of tact by government regarding the proposed bill, and the protest which culminated in the loss of innocent lives and destruction of property could have been avoided. Hence, I expressed my opinion on this in my public media briefing in Mombasa, and my utterances were not any different from what happens in other countries when there is a lapse or failure by the intelligence agencies. The nation has witnessed unfortunate instances of several extrajudicial killings, abductions, and disappearances. I firmly believe that if the National Intelligence Service had acted diligently, these instances would not have been witnessed. Under the Constitution, the government agencies are supposed to be accountable to the Kenyan people, including the National Intelligence Service, and calling them out when a dereliction of duty does not amount to undermining them. I am also aware that the Kenya Kwanza government has been at the forefront in calling out officers who do not seem to understand their work. Recently, my boss, the president, publicly complained that there are some PSs and CSs who did not seem to understand their role. Please play for me video number 5, RG5.
On President William Ruto has today described some members of his cabinet as utterly clueless and uninformed about the dockets they occupy. And in a sign of trouble for cabinet secretaries, the State House gates were shut for those who arrived late, with both President Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua giving a sharp tongue lashing to the latecomers. And our Citizen TV's Timotai Goin reports the atmosphere at the State House, Nairobi, left little doubt on President Ruto's disappointment with a vast section of his 22-member cabinet.
A cold morning in Nairobi, but the seats on the State House grounds came ultra-heated, particularly for cabinet secretaries. The cabinet members came here to sign performance contracts, but the oral appraisal of the day spurred anything between trouble and outright doom.
If you cannot keep time with your employer, you have basically dismissed yourself. I mean, it's just as simple as that. So, for those who came late, who are members of the executive, I will be expecting a written explanation, and it should not include matters of traffic.
Punctuality was at issue, with some cabinet secretaries being locked out of State House for lateness. And from the podium, the president and his senior lieutenants were unforgiving.
Niona watu wale wamechelewa, nikaona rais unaniona ninamjua. Nikaona uso yake nikajua hapa kimeumana. Sababu leo ni siku ya performance contract. Ile siku muhimu sana ya kuja kuweka. Na wewe umefika pale, rais amekaa. Tayari amekaa na ndiye rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Wewe umechelewa ukiwa kuona nani? Who else have you gone to see?
One of the things we need to learn in our performance contract is to beat the traffic.
For the 19 cabinet secretaries present, the atmosphere at State House progressed from bad to worse as President Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua issued a blistering assessment of the performance of the cabinet members.
Many of you, the people I speak to, don't even know what is going on in your ministries or departments. You have very scanty information. The moment I know more than you in your ministry, then you must begin to understand that something is very wrong. How do you run a ministry or a department or a parastatal if you have no information? That is the highest level of incompetence.
Those of us who came with the president from the political space and who are his friends, and we assisted him to become president. Once he gives us a job, that is the termination of that friendship. The friendship with the president will be based on nothing but performance.
From travel habits to basic work ethic and even media appearances, it was a brutal ground zero appraisal for the cabinet.
Why do you have to honor every invitation that you have been given to every country? Your Excellency, at times we have tried to hold cabinet committees, we can't. 5, 6, 7, 8 ministers are out of the country. Some change clothes at the airport from one country to another. That is the truth. Why can't you regulate yourself? If the president was to travel and honor every invitation, he will be out of this country the whole year. You just have to decide what is useful and other things you can leave to our ambassadors out of the country.
So when you hear my deputy saying, find time, travel, but travel and see the people who have hired us, you know, go to different parts of Kenya so that you can get feedback from the public.
We have done so much as an administration, but the information is not out there. Our ministers are quiet. They are called for TV interviews, they don't show up to say what they have done. And then the media have a field day because nobody talks for government. I would rather we spend more time explaining to the people of Kenya what we have done in our respective dockets as opposed to travel. And if we have to travel, let's travel up a country to where wananchi are and explain what we are doing.
And I remember I called CS Chelugui I didn't find him, so I called his PS and I found her and I explained to her, I told her, look, the public is not understanding this. Did I call you or not on Sunday? You know, I told you this is what the public is saying. Please do more sensitization on Hustler Fund Phase 2.
With a very public expression of disappointment in his cabinet, President Ruto has triggered speculation on changes in government as his administration approaches the end of its first year in office. From punctuality to work ethic and general performance, the proverbial axe could well fall somewhere. With the performance contracts expected to foster a culture of high performance in the public service and also ensure that public resources are properly utilized, it is also set to offer a framework for President William Ruto to reward performers and also institute sanctions on non-performers. Chamutai Goin, Citizen TV.
Mr. Speaker, President William Ruto, my boss, and I have been calling out senior government officials when they fall short of expectations. The Director General of the National Intelligence Service is no exception. He's not above the law. He's accountable to the people of Kenya for his performance. And I have had an argument that we should not call out those in the security sector. I would like you to play the next video.
We have the most incompetent Inspector General of Police, I think, in the world. The most incompetent in the whole world. His incompetence may not necessarily play out when things are working, but when things get to a head and you need some decisions to be made, I can tell you for sure, the gentleman we have as an IG cannot make any decision.
Nataka tumwambie ule mtu wa sinema mingi anaitwa nani ule mtu? Ule sijui anaitwa DCI, ule anaitwa nini? Ule mtu anaitwa Kinoti. Awache ujinga. Huyo bwana Kiboti awache ujinga. Sio kama tunaelewana. Huyo Kinoti hakuna kitu amefanya kwa hii Kenya ya kisiasa. Yeye ni mtu ya sinema. Anaendesha makesi kwa magazeti. Anatuandikia barua, sijui barua ya kilomita ngapi. Mr. Kinoti, please save your time. Stop writing to us long letters. Leave matters of elections to IEBC. You have no business in IEBC. You have failed as DCI. We don't want you to fail our elections. Tunaelewana? Huyo bwana Kinoti awache hiyo ujinga yake anaendesha pale, kwa sababu anatukasirisha. Huyo bwana Kinoti tunataka tumwambie awachane na watu wa IEBC wafanye hii uchaguzi. Alipatiwa kazi ya kufanya criminal investigation. He has never done anything. Ile kesi yote anafanya kesi kwa magazeti. Akiambiwa apeleke evidence kule kotini ameshindwa. So bwana Kinoti, wacha sinema. You have failed and wait for August so that you can.
Honorable members, that was President William Ruto as Deputy President criticizing IG Mutiabai, DCI Kinoti. Regarding Gachagua has learned his job from his boss, that public officers must be called to order when they fell short of expectation. And I never saw anybody bring William Ruto here for impeachment for criticizing the IG or the DCI. This is a very unfair allegation. Mr. Speaker, it is also reported by media that the IMF has already warned about impending unrest during the people's dissatisfaction with the 2023 and 24 finance bill. Many of you will recall, Mr. Speaker, after the September 11th terrorist attack in the US, the US intelligence agencies were massively criticized, and an inquiry was even opened to investigate why their intelligence agency was not able to detect and thwart the attack. All we are saying is that our National Intelligence Service is accountable to the people of Kenya for its performance. Mr. Speaker, conniving with cartels in the tea sector to block KTDA from implementing guaranteed minimum return. Mr. Speaker, I am here to see a shred of evidence to that effect, and I have nothing to say. I have seen an allegation that we have not been able to do coffee reforms. Mr. Speaker, out of my work, coordinating coffee reforms, the Cooperative Bill 2023 and the Coffee Bill 2023 is before this House. I request this House, after these impeachment proceedings, to embark on those two bills so that the coffee farmers can realize the full benefit of the coffee reforms that we have initiated. There is another allegation that I have taken control of a local cooperative society in Madeira constituency. I don't know the name of that constituency, of that cooperative. It is false. I am here to see any evidence. I have nothing to say because there is nothing to be said. On the issue of shareholding, which I think members are interested in listening to, I listened to you this morning, and it was quite emotive. By virtue of provisions of the third schedule of the Political Parties Act, the constituent parties of the Kenya Kwanza coalition entered into various agreements, which were deposited with the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Speaker of the Senate for purposes of Article 108 of the Constitution of Kenya. The following were members: UDA, ANC, Ford Kenya, PA, Farmers Party, Chama cha Kazi, Communist Party, Economic Freedom Party, Service Party, Tujibebe wa Kenya Party, Umoja na Maendeleo Party of Kenya, and the Democratic Party of Kenya. In accordance with the provision of Clause 3, Schedule 3, a power sharing agreement and development agenda for the certain regions of Kenya, I attach copies of these agreements, RG32. All those agreements talked about specific regions. The leaders who appended their signatures canvassed issues of appointments to do with specific regions. Power sharing agreement between UDA and ANC and Ford Kenya, for example, say that the UDA would nominate the coalition president, the presidential and deputy presidential candidates that was honored. The president would guarantee the stature, the dignity, and financial and operational autonomy of the office of the deputy president, which I have been insisting on because it's part of the coalition agreement. The ANC would be allocated the position of the prime cabinet secretary, which has happened. Ford Kenya would be allocated the position of the Speaker of the National Assembly, and that is why Honorable Masika Wetangula sits here today. In accordance with Article 2 of the Power Sharing Agreement, ANC at Ford Kenya would have a 30% share is a word, of the national government positions. This drives my utterances about shareholding. It is embedded in all these agreements that are attached here for you to read. I heard this morning an honorable member saying that the deputy president said the people of Ukabani will not get resources because they did not vote for Kenya Kwanza government. That is not true. The deputy president of the Republic of Kenya does not allocate resources. Resources for the development of the Republic of Kenya are appropriated by the National Assembly of Kenya, where I am today. The deputy president will help the president to oversee the implementation of funds allocated and appropriated by the National Assembly. It is therefore not possible that the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya has the capacity to deny any part of Kenya resources because of the way they voted. The decisions on how resources will be allocated for the development of the Republic of Kenya are made here by the honorable members. If your area has no development, please don't impeach the deputy president. Don't accuse him of not giving you resources. You are in this house to make sure that your area where you come from is allocated appropriate resources because that is your job. The agreements are attached, therefore I don't want to go into them. Let me say my speeches on the shareholder issue were informed. by the aforesaid power-sharing covenants, which are founded on law, having been deposited with the Registrar of Political Parties, and lessons learned from the well-known disputed 202 NAC power-sharing agreement. Further, sharing agreements are a feature of government formation in all democracies in the world that provide for the formation. My pronouncements on the issue, properly understood, are not only anchored in law, but entirely harmless and incapable of being construed as a basis for ethnic animosity, a danger to national cohesion, or a threat to national unity. On the contrary, coalition building has been one of the most important innovations since the disputed 2007 elections in ensuring stability, equitable sharing of political power, national cohesion, and fostering of national unity. Indeed, Kenya Kwanza main opponent in 2022 general election, Azimio la Umoja Coalition, One Kenya Coalition Party, was a political party consisting of 25 political parties who also executed a power-sharing agreement based on sharing.
Nothing against him. It's only that we were competing for the same position between him and my boss. Now that he is going for a bigger seat in Africa, all of us, from the president, I, and the rest of Kenya, are behind him. And the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, as a man who listens to the ground, let me confirm to you, I've listened to the ground, and all Kenyans across the political divide, across communities, are in support of your candidature, and we wish you well. Before I call Your Excellency, let me acknowledge the place of family, not just in our lives, but in leadership. I think it is a great moment for the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. It's appropriate that I acknowledge on behalf of the country the role Mama Ida Odinga has played in the life of this great son of this land. Mama Ida Odinga, we salute you as a country for having been a very strong pillar to your husband in very difficult times, and in his lowest moments you have always been there for him. We ask families to support their spouses. So Mama Ida Odinga, as we wish you happy birthday, it is my hope and prayer that your next birthday will be celebrated at Addis next year. And if you invite President William Ruto to come and he's not able to come, Mr. President, I'll be very happy for you to send me to represent you in that great birthday. We therefore want to say as a country, it's a great moment. And the Right Honorable Odinga, I have noted with a lot of appreciation, my wife, Pastor Dorcas, who is a very prayerful woman, has been praying for me and the President daily. And I noted from yesterday she has added you in her prayer. And because her prayers work, we have no doubt that you will get this seat. Mr. President, it is now my honor to request you to come and anchor Kenya's finest and embark on the journey of transformation of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga from a national leader to a great African statesman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. President William Ruto has many times appreciated my people issues and has repeatedly pronounced himself. Let me have the video number 9.
And speaking of deputies, you have in the last few weeks named Mr. Rigathi Gachagua as your deputy. There's been quite a debate, and I'm sure you know that, around running mates in this country. Perhaps this would be a great time to shed light on why you settled on this gentleman.
Rigathi Gachagua is somebody I have known. Rigathi Gachagua is a very passionate leader. Rigathi Gachagua is a people's person. he speaks about the things that I speak about. He speaks about ordinary people. He's concerned about matters to do with farmers. He's concerned about the things that are dear to ordinary Kenyans. And the nexus between me and Rigathi Gachagua is the people. He believes in bottom-up the way I do. And that is why I chose Rigathi Gachagua to work with me.
Thank you very much.
Speaking of deputies.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. In addition, and almost in conclusion, I am not the only leader at the national level who has encouraged unity among Kenyans based on shared regional, geographical, and economic and other factors. I have attached several articles. Luya unity is not optional, Moses Wetangula. Ruto puts case for Gema Kalenjin unity. Mijikenda unity in the offing. Masai leaders in unity talks ahead of next year's general election. I have attached those articles so that you understand that regions uniting does not mean they unite against other regions. They unite for common issues, common values, and to strengthen them to join other regions for national unity. Mr. Speaker, the motion dated 26 September 2024, tabled before the National Assembly, makes the generalized claims that have committed crimes under national laws, Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act, Penal Code, National Cohesion and Integration Act as anti-corruption and economic crimes. It is on the basis of the claim that it is said that the threshold of impeachment has been met. I'm not aware of any active investigations by any state agency for offenses under the said laws, neither have I been called upon to record any step pertaining to any investigation. Just like any other Kenyan, the Constitution accords me the presumption of innocence in relation to criminal offenses until the contrary is proved in a court of law on a specific standard of evidence. Therefore, in the absence of any active investigations by any investigative agency in Kenya, I do not believe that there can be any serious reason to believe that I've committed any offense. Otherwise, that will be an indictment of the intelligence agencies as well as investigative agencies. Therefore, it is inconceivable that the threshold of the impeachment motion as defined in Article 145 of the Constitution can solely be based on the perception of the mover of the motion in the absence of any other evidence. I heard the mover this morning saying that all we need to do is to believe in him. I believe that cannot be the position. We need actual evidence against the Deputy President. The net effect of the impeachment of this basis of allegations of criminal offenses, whose evidence has not been tried and tested in court of law or by bodies mandated to investigate, would be to disqualify me from the possibility of holding public office in relation to Article 99(3 without the benefit of due process of law and exhaustion of the systems of appeal as provided in the Penal Code. Mr. Speaker, I do not wish to respond to the issues I had this morning that are outside the motion. I want to confirm that I have tremendous respect for Kenyan women, and I have never disrespected them. What has happened is that as politicians, there is always propaganda to undermine somebody. I call upon anybody with evidence that I've ever disrespected that person to come out and provide that evidence. I had my very great friend, the Honorable Faith Gitau, say that I disrespect women. Many times I've been to Nyandarua. I've referred to Honorable Faith Gitau as Ngatha. Ngatha is a Kikuyu name for a woman of great respect. That I have done countless times, is on video. Finally, the Honorable Bose Sholei, I heard what you said in Eldoret. I heard this morning that you said I should be charged with treason. But my sister, me, I'm a grateful man. I remember, and I'll never forget, During the last administration, when I was arrested on fabricated charges for standing with the President William Ruto against the wish of the government at that time, Gladys Bosholai came and sat with me at DCI headquarters, brought me tea, brought me lunch, sat with me, comforted me. At court, she coordinated the collection of 12.5 million shillings as my cash bail. She came to see me in Gigiri for 4 days and had very kind words for me. Despite what you have said, my sister, I do remember that one good thing that you did for me, and I'll love you and cherish you for the rest of my life. Finally, Mr. Speaker, as I wind up, I want to appeal to this Honorable House to consider the allegations against me by the mover of the motion, weigh it against the attached evidence, weigh it against my defense and the attachments and the videos that I've played in his house. And exercise your mind and exercise your discretion. Search your conscience and decide if Rigathi Gachagua is guilty of any of those allegations or is undergoing a political process. If you are so persuaded and you search your conscience without any intimidation or coercion or inducement, and you think is the right thing to do, please go ahead and do so. If you search your conscience and listen to the issues that have been adduced here, and you find that there are no grounds to impeach the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, please make the right decision. But as you do so, many members who are in this House remember what President William Ruto as Deputy President went through. And most of us stood with him. Rigathi Gachagua underwent 4 years of persecution. Others were persecuted. But we took a firm stand because we believed we were doing the right thing. His family underwent humiliation. His friends underwent humiliation. He was a haunted man. And on Inauguration Day, he pronounced himself that freedom is here. Again, under the new administration, the same Rigathi Gachagua, who underwent humiliation and persecution, finds himself in the same space under that administration that he fought for. Try, look, reflect, and apply your conscience and make the right decision. Mr. Speaker of the House, I want to thank you for granting me this opportunity. And my address last night was not in any way meant to disrespect the House. Despite, Mr. Speaker, you having ruled that the matter should not be taken out of the House, it was being discussed in every TV station, in every meeting across Kenya. And Kenyans did not have a chance to also hear my side of the story. So I decided, since the accusations against me were everywhere in the country, the people of Kenya, and more so those who voted for me and President William Ruto, deserved also to hear my side of the story. I have tremendous respect for the National Assembly and your ability and capacity to make the right decision. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. Thank you very much, Deputy President. I'm sure your fears that you will not be heard fairly have been allayed. You've been heard in absolute silence. You've been heard with total decorum from the House. And members, I salute you for the display of your legislative maturity in giving an opportunity to a subject to a motion in the person of the Deputy President to be heard. Is it Rosa? The proceedings are still going on. Who is praying? Yes, Senior Counsel. These proceedings are still going on.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Speaker, this is a House of Record, and I had wanted to rise under Standing Order 65, 67A, and 67B. Two of those points you've already covered, Mr. Speaker. It is important that the record reflects that although the standing orders do not require that we listen to the witness in silence, indeed we did.
Yes, absolutely.
Secondly, that there was compliance with the Standing Order 67B2 in giving the witness a maximum of 2 hours. But there's a third one, Mr. Speaker, which I think should go on record. Standing Order 67A also requires that the witness be entitled to appear in person or with counsel. I see that the witness has appeared with at least 3 counsel, all of whose names should come on record, so that the record shows that counsel were actually allowed to the chamber. I see my friend Advocate Ongoya, my friend Advocate Njiru, so that there is no incompleteness of the record. I beg, Mr. Speaker.
That is a fair comment. Counsel for the Deputy President, without making any unhelpful speeches, just put your names on record. I'm sure you have a team leader. The team leader will introduce himself and introduce his accompanying colleagues. Ongaya.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, sir, and thank you so much, honorable members. The team representing the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President in these proceedings, is as follows. Honorable Paul Kibugi Mwite, Senior Counsel, Mr. Victor Swanya Ogeto, my name is Elisha Ongoya, Mr. George Sakimpa, Mr. Ndegwa Njiru, Mr. George Wandati, Miss Faith Waigwa, Mr. Murigi Kamande, Mr. Amos Kisilu, Mr. Eric Kiprop Naibei, Miss Julia Omwamba, Mr. Tom Maina Masharia, Mr. Willis Echesa, and Mr. Andrew Moga. And that is all.
Thank you. And apart from the 3 of you, the rest are within the precincts of Parliament?
Are within the precincts of Parliament, save for Senior Counsel Paul Kibugi Mwite, who sought to be excused from attending today, but is part of this team, and we are under his supervision and guidance.
Thank you. From here, we'll proceed as follows. Deputy President, if you wish to leave, you are at liberty to do so with your team. Na mwengi Yes, Kaluma.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, our prayer at the end says that we always be fair to those who are committed to our church. And Honorable Speaker, in his address to the House this afternoon, the Deputy President appears to have referred to some documents. I know we are moving towards the end of this particular session in considering this matter. And Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for upholding Article 47 of the Constitution on the right to fairly and secure procedural fairness to every party as required by our Constitution. I wanted to ask Honorable Speaker that so that we consider what the Deputy President is saying in the documents, would I be in order to request the indulgence of the Speaker within the provisions of Standing Order number 1 to adjourn for at least 10 minutes so that we consider what the Deputy President's documents have and come back and make the decisions we need to make. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The request does not meet my favor. Where's Mutuse? Mutuse, You have 30 minutes to reply before I call the minority leader and the majority leader. Will you exhaust your 30 minutes or you want to share out to anybody? I got an indication that you wanted to share 10 minutes to Kaluma. Pardon? I know. I am organizing the process. He's not going to be... I'm aware, Robert.
Mr. Speaker, I will share 10 minutes to senior learned friend Mr. Peter Kaluma, 5 minutes to Deputy Majority Leader, who was my seconder, and I will utilize the rest, which is 15 minutes.
Yes. Honorable Mutuse, only you has the right to a second bite to the motion. Your seconder has no right to a second bite. So if you have extra minutes, as I call the minority and majority leader, Kaluma will have 10 minutes if you want to donate to anybody else, but not Owen Bayer. Minority leader, now it's your time. You have 15 minutes.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you for according me this opportunity. From the onset, Honorable Speaker, the minority supports the motion on removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Rigathi Gachagua because, Mr. Speaker, he is unfit to hold office. In Kenya, and yesterday it was clear to all Kenyans to see for themselves the danger this country is in, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the impeachment of the Deputy President is not merely a procedural step. Rather, it's a reflection of our commitment to accountability and the rule of law in this country, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the integrity of government and the stability of our nation is at stake, Mr. Speaker, as we speak this afternoon in this House, this evening, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, national security is at stake. Honorable Speaker, the economy is at stake. Honorable Speaker, the DP, since he assumed office, we have witnessed nothing but abuse of power, discrimination against communities, insubordination, disregard for the two levels of government, corruption, bullying, and many other actions that undermine the rule of law, Mr. Speaker, as well as actions that are unethical, illegal, and that severely breach public trust as contained in the motion by Honorable Mwenge Mutuse, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in supporting the removal of the Deputy President from office, we are rejecting the invitation by Honorable Rigathi Gachagua to accept tribal bigotry, Mr. Speaker, skewed resource allocation, and the exploitation and domination of minorities as fait accompli in Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I move forward, or before I go on with what I wanted to say on the motion, Mr. Speaker, I would like to take this chance first to respond to some of the issues that he has raised in the House a few minutes ago, or his responses, Mr. Speaker. In the first place, his response has come very late in the day to the House, Mr. Speaker. He tabled his response at 4 p.m. in the evening today, Mr. Speaker. And he should have done it either yesterday evening or this morning, Mr. Speaker, so that the House can get enough time to peruse what he has said, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, one of the grounds that is being accused of Mr. Rigathi Gachagua for impeachment, Mr. Speaker, is the issue of what he calls shareholding, Mr. Speaker. He has said Kenya is a company with shareholding. But in his response, he comes here and tells the House that he did not mean that. What he meant is that he was talking about political parties, Mr. Speaker, and listed the political parties that have formed coalitions within Kenya Kwanza, Mr. Speaker, including Ford Kenya, ANC, PA, and all other parties that have formed what is called the Kenya Kwanza coalition, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to contradict what he's saying, what he said by saying that political parties are national in nature. Ford Kenya is a national party. ANC is a national party. All the political parties that formed a coalition with Kenya Kwanza are political parties that are of national, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in this country, under the Constitution, you are not allowed to form a tribal party. You're not allowed to form a religious political party, Mr. Speaker. You are not allowed to form a Mulima political party, Mr. Speaker. That is very clear in the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. And if the Deputy President is not aware of that, I can read out for him, Mr. Speaker. Under Article, Mr. Speaker, 91, every political party shall have national character as prescribed by an Act of Parliament, have democratically elected governing body, Mr. Speaker. And it also says in Part 2, a political party shall not be founded on a religious, linguistic, racial, ethnic, gender, or regional basis, Mr. Speaker, or seek to engage in advocacy of hatred, like what he does sometimes, on any such basis, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you cannot equate political parties to what the Deputy President has been propagating for the last 2 years in this country, Mr. Speaker. The Deputy President has told Kenyans in no uncertain terms that Kenya is a shareholding company.
Order, honorable members.
And if you do not vote, for Kenya Kwanza, you do not have any shares, Mr. Speaker.
Order, Yegon, and your team. Ngong.
Mr. Speaker, members now are excited because they are not happy with the response the Deputy President has given them. Now they want to vote and go home. I know what they are doing. I know, but let's prosecute the matter. We have to respond to the issues he has brought to the House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, political parties are not equal to regional and ethnic, conglomerations that the Deputy President has been advocating for the last 2 years, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to give him a good example like ODM. ODM has sent the other day 6 experts under the broad-based government, Mr. Speaker. 6 experts. Where are those experts coming from? One is from the coast. Beatrice School is from Turkana. Oparanya is from Western. The Attorney General is from Kisumu. Mr. Speaker, when he's talking about 30% of Ford Kenya and 30% of ANC, he thinks those positions were given to lawyers as a community, Mr. Speaker. When Ford Kenya is a national party, those positions belong to members of Ford Kenya who are in Mombasa, who are in Migori, who are in Kakamega, who are in Bungoma, who are in Eldoret. Ford Kenya has membership in all the country, has membership, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, that ground is not, he cannot controvert that ground by saying that he was talking about the power sharing within Kenya Kwanza. No, he was talking about ethnic groups, Mr. Speaker. He said this government was formed by 2 ethnic groups, and that's how they are going to share power, Mr. Speaker. So that ground stands, Mr. Speaker, and that ground is impeachable, Mr. Speaker, on the Deputy President. The other issue, Mr. Speaker, I want to respond to that he has raised here, Mr. Speaker, is the issue of national security. He said that the NSIS, Mr. Speaker, can be called out whenever they are out of order, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the man Deputy President sits in the National Security Council, Mr. Speaker. He doesn't need to call out any government organ in the streets, Mr. Speaker, like the people who do their things in the streets, Mr. Speaker. He's a man who sits in every governance organ of this country, Mr. Speaker. All organs of government, all governing organs are also oversighted by committee of this House, Mr. Speaker. What happens, Mr. Speaker, in this country if every member of parliament goes out there castigating governing bodies and constitutionally created bodies of governance, Mr. Speaker? We are going to have anarchy in this country. Mr. Speaker, I am not convinced that he has answered in any way that question as to why he was castigating bodies like the NSIS and the police out there when he's the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. On that ground, Mr. Speaker, I feel he's impeachable on that, Mr. Speaker. He has not given us any sufficient answer to that question, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue of Justice Maina. He said that he was not attacking her because of the judgments she rendered against him, Mr. Speaker. And he said that he had filed a petition with the Judicial Service Commission, Mr. Speaker. He who wants equity must come with clean hands. You cannot castigate a judge in the rallies, in burials, and then you want JSC to listen to you. You can't have both ways. If he wanted JSC to deal with that matter, if he was unhappy with the way the judge has handled his case, Mr. Speaker, he should not have castigated her in a burial, Mr. Speaker. He should not have talked about her in a very demeaning manner, Mr. Speaker. He should have kept his cool and filed his petition with the Judicial Service Commission, Mr. Speaker. On that account, Mr. Speaker, he has failed the leadership and integrity, Mr. Speaker, under the Integrity Act, Mr. Speaker, and on that account, he's impeachable, Mr. Speaker. My last point, Mr. Speaker, is the issue of the renovation of his house in Karen, or the official residence of the Deputy President Karen, Mr. Speaker. You remember the Deputy President, when he was assuming office, when he was taking oath of office at Kasarani, Mr. Speaker, the way he lectured us, the way he told us that they have inherited empty coffers, Mr. Speaker. There is no money in this country. The former regime has looted and gone with everything, and goes ahead after 2 months to renovate his house, his official residence, with over 100 million, 45 million shillings, Mr. Speaker. Imetoka wapi, Mr. Speaker? Where has that money come from? Where has that money come from? He has not convinced us in any way how that money was spent, how those companies were paid, and on that account, Mr. Speaker, because of misuse of public resources, he is impeachable on that account also, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this. When we gave ourselves the new constitution in 2010, we knew very well that we were coming from an era where we cannot impeach the president, we cannot impeach ministers, we cannot impeach the deputy president. Kenyans gave themselves the new constitution, and they put in there Article 150, knowing very well that one day they will hold their leaders, the president, the deputy president, accountable, Mr. Speaker. And they gave that mandate to this House, Mr. Speaker, and the Senate, Parliament in general, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was shocked under the public participation, people saying that Kufa Makanga, Kufa driver, Mr. Speaker. We cannot allow the driver to die because it is an issue. We are witnessing a situation where the Makanga wants to take the steering by force. And what happens after that? The driver is carrying 55 million Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. We cannot allow the driver to die because 55 million Kenyans are going to die with him. But the Makanga, who is just hanging at the door there of the matatu, can go, Mr. Speaker, if he misbehaves, Mr. Speaker. And, if he's not doing his work properly, Mr. Speaker, the easier one to go first is the Makanga, because the Makanga is the one who should be telling the driver what to do. And they're telling us here, Kufa Makanga, Kufa driver. The petition of the driver is not with us in this parliament. The petition we have, the motion we have before us today is the motion of the Makanga. And we are going to deal with him perpendicularly and thoroughly, Mr. Speaker, this afternoon. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell the House that us, the people of the minority, the Azimio people, Mr. Speaker, we have lived like orphans in this country for the last 2 years. Why do I say so? Mr. Speaker, we are taxpayers. Some of the places that contribute to the highest taxes in this country are areas that are dominated by Azimio people. And then somebody comes here and tells me, you are not a shareholder, you are not going to get services, you are not going to get development. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Does the taxes that are paid by the Azimio people count for nothing, Mr. Speaker? And it is coming from the high office of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is the time we are going to correct this thing so that it never happens again, so that we don't have another Deputy President who comes later. Because when we impeach this one, another one is going to be appointed. This is a lesson to the next one, that if you misbehave, we will just take you through this Goleta, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude by saying this. Let us not personalize offices. We don't have any ill will. We don't have any bad faith. We don't have anything that we are holding against the persona of Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua, Mr. Speaker. We are dealing with the office of the Deputy President currently occupied by one Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua, Mr. Speaker. The office holder. And let us not personalize. The office does not belong to him, does not belong to anybody. This is a constitutional office, and the Constitution has prescribed how to deal with you when you misbehave in that office, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, for Kenya to become cohesive, Rigathi must do what? Rigathi must? For Kenya to become cohesive.
Okay, give him 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker.
Give him 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I was telling members, for Kenya to unite, Rigathi must. For Kenya to prosper, Rigathi must. For Kenya to have unity, Rigathi must. For shareholding to end in Kenya, Rigathi must. For us to have a peaceful country, Rigathi must. Thank you very much. That is the mood, and that is what we are going to do.
Thank you, Kimani Ichung'wah.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. Honorable Ekomas Mutuse, the member for Kibwezi West, approached me with the impeachment motion. Honorable Speaker, I took some time not just to go through the grounds that he had stipulated for the impeachment of the Deputy President, but also to reflect on what Honorable Mutuse was asking me, not just as a member of parliament for Kikuyu and leader of majority party in this house to do, but also took time to reflect and ask the Almighty God to guide me and give me wisdom to do the right thing. Honorable Speaker, I pray to God that the Almighty God may give me wisdom to do that which is right. And not just what is right, Honorable Speaker, but also what is just. Just to the outgoing Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, but also just, more importantly, just to the people of Kenya who turned out in their numbers in 2022 to vote in a government that they believed would create cohesion and unity and offer them opportunities to excel and prosper as a people. Honorable Speaker, as I prayed for wisdom, I was also conscious that what is right is not always easy. And what is right is not always popular. And being a son of the mountain, representing people of the Mount Kenya region, Honorable Speaker, it was clear to me that what may be popular today may not be right. And that is why I asked God to give me the wisdom to do that what is right, Honorable Speaker. And I am here today to do what is right for the people of Kenya. I am here to do what is right, not just for the people of Mount Kenya, I am here to do what is right for the greater good of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Speaker. And that is why I rise to support this impeachment motion, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, having listened to Honorable Mutuse and all the grounds, and having looked at the Constitution, Honorable Speaker, and I would beg for us to look at Article 150 on the removal of a deputy president, the reasons as to why you may remove a deputy president from office. The first one is on the ground of physical or mental incapacity to perform the functions of that office. We have no capacity to determine the physical and mental capacity of the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. But on impeachment as a second ground, the first ground is on the ground of a gross violation of a provision of this Constitution or any other law. The question that begs is whether one Rigathi Geoffrey Gachagua has contravened or has grossly violated one provision of our Constitution. And I think the Honorable Ekomas Mutuse was able to demonstrate this morning that Rigathi Gachagua has violated not one, but over 8 provisions of our Constitution, which I agree with the Honorable Mutuse. And for that reason, Rigathi Gachagua ought and must be impeached today. The second ground, Honorable Speaker, is where there are serious reasons. And Senior Counsel Otiende Amolo went to great length this morning to explain what serious, when you believe there are serious reasons that the Deputy President has committed a crime under national or international law. Honorable Speaker, behind the veneer of humility that you have seen here this evening, behind the veneer of humility that Kenyans saw on national TVs on Sunday, pretending to apologize, is a dark face of violence. Is a dark face, Honorable Speaker, that is a great danger to our nationhood, a great danger to the unity of our republic, Honorable Speaker, a danger to the cohesive existence of our nation as we see it today, Honorable Speaker. On the first ground, Honorable Speaker, on the remark of Serikali ni kampuni, it pains me, Honorable Speaker, as I say, not just as leader of majority, but as a member of parliament of Kikuyu constituency, and also as a son of the mountain, where I come from. That, Honorable Speaker, today, the community I come from is being depicted as a community that is entitled and privileged. We are a community, Honorable Speaker, that has love for other Kenyans and other communities in our republic. We are a community that is known for our hard work and resilience, not for entitlement. We are a community that is peace-loving and that believes in the unity of one indivisible nation and Republic of Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua does not believe in an indivisible country. He believes in parochial, selfish, regional, and sectarian interests. And for that reason, Honorable Speaker, we ought and we should impeach the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua. Honorable Speaker, we need to ask ourselves as honorable members of parliament, who took an oath of office, Honorable Speaker, and we swore in the name of the Almighty God that we would obey, respect, uphold, protect, and defend this Constitution. And today, Honorable Speaker, what we are being asked to do is to recall those words of the oath of office that we all took either with the Bible or with the Holy Quran in our right hands, Honorable Speaker, that for a man who has grossly violated our Constitution, whether we will stand up today to be counted as protecting and defending this Constitution by sending home one Rigathi Gachagua, Honorable Speaker. I want to say I rise to the occasion today to do what is right and to reaffirm that oath that I took with the Bible in my right hand to obey, to defend, and to protect this Constitution that we all sought to defend. And I call upon all of you honorable members to defend this Constitution. Honorable members, for Kenyans around the country who watched in disbelief as the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua went to great length, and the Honorable Otiende Amolo told us this morning, if you have to spend 2 hours on national TV to defend corruption and tell the world how you are not corrupt, you are definitely corrupt. Honorable Speaker, the Deputy President with his legal team submitted their defense late at 4 p.m. this afternoon, imagining that we will not have the time to go through this voluminous document. If you go through what Rigathi Gachagua was telling you here, on Olive Garden Hotel, he claims that this hotel was sold by executors to a third party. Honorable Speaker, if you peruse through the documents, the third party that is said to have bought this hotel, Honorable Speaker, allow me, Honorable Speaker, first to tell you that the joint executors of the will of the late Governor Nderitu Gachagua were Rigathi Gachagua, Advocate Njoroge Regeru, and one Mr. Mwai, who was said to have been his great friend, Mwai Madenge. And Honorable Speaker, if you read the report filed in court by the joint will executors, filed on the 27th of June this year, it says in the report that the joint will executors will make decisions independently of the beneficiaries and without influence from any beneficiary, except for one who is both a beneficiary and an executor. The joint will executors does not have the same attributes and mandates as for trustees, where beneficiaries would play a part assisting in decision making. What this is saying, Honorable Speaker, a document filed in court, is that Rigathi Gachagua, as a joint will executor, was also a beneficiary of the estate of his late brother. He was not only a joint will executor, he was also a beneficiary, and he was also a purchaser for value of the estate of his late brother. Olive Gardens is said to have been sold to one gentleman that many of us know, the Honorable Gishimu Githinji, the member for Gishugu, will tell you that the gentleman who is listed here as a purchaser for value for Olive Gardens, one Peterson Jomo Mushira, was a candidate in Gishugu constituency. He is a direct proxy of one Rigathi Geoffrey Gachagua. And Honorable Speaker, I must confess, and I am sorry to my friend Peterson because I know him. I just called him this afternoon when I saw this document. And I asked him whether TM Civil Engineering Limited is his company, and he confirmed to me it is indeed his company. I therefore want to tell you Olive Gardens was purchased through the proxy of Peterson Jomo Mushira with 0 shares and TM Civil Engineering Limited with 6,000 shares. Those who have visited the Annex House, the office of the Deputy President, know this Jomo is a permanent fixture in the office of the Deputy President, and therefore his direct proxy. Honorable Speaker, we are also told, Honorable Speaker, that these very hardworking young Kenyans, in the names of Keith Ikino Rigathi and Kevin Gachagua Rigathi, who are listed on the CR12 of the documents that were tabled this afternoon by Rigathi, are shareholders of Vipingo Beach Resort, that owns the Vipingo property in Kilifi County. The one the Honorable Chonga was speaking about. Rigathi Gachagua told Kenyans on national TV that this property is still owned by the family and therefore is still part of the estate. Keith Ikino and Kevin Gachagua, his sons, were not joint will executors of the estate of Nderitu Gachagua. And the owners who are listed on this CR12 is Keith Ikino Rigathi, Kevin Gachagua Rigathi, and the estate of the deceased James Nderitu Gachagua. It is a rather ingenious way of trying to hide behind the estate of his late brother. And how shameful, Honorable Speaker, that the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya would hide behind the veil of the estate of his late brother to disguise what is outright proceeds of crime, because he is a purchaser of this property, and that is why his two sons are listed as directors and shareholders of Vipingo Ridge, of Vipingo Beach Resort. But he was on national TV telling Kenyans, this is a property that belongs to the family, and we have decided to keep it. This is a House of Records, Honorable Speaker, and it is good we gave the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua an opportunity to be heard so that we can expose his lies in broad daylight or this early in the evening. And I want to tell Kenyans and all of you members, save this country from this dark face, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. Save this country, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, because of time, I know there was alluding, Honorable Speaker, if you look at the time this company, Vipingo Beach Resort, was formed, it was founded on 5th August 2008. I would guess if Keith Gachagua is 31 years old today, at the time this company was registered, he was only 15 years old or 14 years old. He cannot have been listed as a director. His younger brother must have been 12 or 13. For heaven's sake, Deputy President, give some credit. Honorable Speaker, we also had the issue of shareholding, Honorable Speaker. And we were told that in our coalition agreement, Honorable Speaker, and you are then the leader of Ford Kenya, and you know you never subscribed to shareholding in our coalition agreements within Kenya Kwanza. Anybody who subscribed to the Kenya Kwanza coalition was subscribing not to shares, but to an ideology, a shared ideology, not shareholding, as Rigathi Gachagua wants Kenyans to believe. Honorable Speaker, let me finish by saying, Honorable Speaker, that the mountain is intact. The mountain is intact. The mountain is intact. The mountain is intact. The mountain is named after Kenya because it belongs to all the people of Kenya. We must end ethnic balkanization.
Give him another 2-3 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, I was saying to conclude, to end the balkanization of our country into ethnic fiefdoms under the control of warlords, we must send Rigathi Gachagua home today. To end divisive politics in our country, Rigathi must. To end the culture of impunity, conflict of interest, abuse of office, state capture, and corruption in high office, Rigathi must. For accountability, for there to be integrity in the political governance of our country, Rigathi Gachagua must. For leaders in high office to bear policy and political responsibility, Rigathi Gachagua must. For national unity, for the fight against graft to bear fruit, for peace and prosperity of our nation as one indivisible whole, one nation under one flag, one people who love their country, who love peace, who want to see a cohesive and working government serving them. Rigathi Mas? Rigathi Mas? I submit. Rigathi Mas go.
Thank you. Order. Honorable members, order. The honorable mover has donated his time as follows. Charles Nguna, CNN, you'll start with 2 minutes. Omboko Milemba will follow with 3 minutes. Peter Kaluma will follow with 10 minutes, and then he himself 15 minutes. So, CNN, Charles Nguna.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me thank the Kenyans who just expressed their views during public participation on this matter, Mr. Speaker. And to add this, I keenly followed and listened to the Deputy President yesterday, His Excellency. And Mr. Speaker, based on all what is said, we saw a lot of differences, rifts, contradictions, divisions, which are totally eminent we are going to have in future, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is inevitable that we are going to have battleground between His Excellency the DP and His Excellency the President. And when the bulls fight, Mr. Speaker, grass suffers, Mr. Speaker. And it's that's why I'm saying that if we continue keeping one of them in the office, Mr. Speaker, Kenyans are going to suffer most, Mr. Speaker. And based on my wisdom for prosperity and also for development, for what we call prosperity and patriotism, and for us to live in an amicable manner and peaceful manner, Mr. Speaker, we have to separate the two bulls, Mr. Speaker. And the motion today, it is for Rigathi to go, not for William Samoei Ruto. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Omboko Milemba.
Honorable Speaker, there's a question which makes me stand to speak on. And I want Kenyans and possibly the members who can listen to me to realize that one issue that has not been answered consistently is the question of chairs. Yesterday I listened to the Deputy President and today also. Whenever he's asked about chairs, Honorable
Members,
Speaker,
can we reduce our levels of conversation?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Whenever he's asked about the issue of chairs, he picks ANC party agreement and Ford Kenya party agreement. And instead of answering that question, he hides in it. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I'm now holding the reply by Honorable Gachagua, and on page 333, the agreement is annexed. And I want to demonstrate to this parliament that what you have been told was wrong. Because that agreement does not talk about just power sharing for a region. He has avoided intentionally to read the entire paragraph, which says that the sharing of the political parties will also depending further on the need to achieve an inclusive government that reflects the face of Kenya, including the need to accommodate the representation of any future member party and all regions of Kenya. He avoided to read that and therefore gives an impression that there was a power-sharing agreement which only confined ANC party to Western only, when ANC party is a national party. Look at this, Honorable Speaker. The only member of the ANC party we nominated was Honorable Dena Hamisi, who comes from Kwale and not Western. So this is an issue which has not been tackled. Two, he is unable to deal with Senior Counsel Tienda Molo's assertion in the morning that how would you elevate the agreements of a political party beyond the Constitution of Kenya? It's very important that as you make your decision, you get that this was a false lie. Finally, Honorable Speaker, in all this we have seen all the techniques of card stacking, of propaganda, which include card stacking, emotional appeal, branding, and that's why we have seen the name of the president being dragged in this matter today. I think the motion on the floor is for the makanga, it's not for the driver. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support.
I have been advised by the mover that Lillian Kogo will take 2 minutes and Kaluma 8 minutes instead of 10. Lillian Kogo.
I thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank all the members who have contributed to this motion. I rise to support. I had not given my voice to it, but Honorable Speaker, as you were speaking earlier, Honorable Speaker, I believe the Honorable Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya was following the proceedings of this House. And one of the matters, Honorable Speaker, that came out so clearly, Honorable Speaker, was the insult on women, Honorable Speaker. Women form a substantive position in this country's national development, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I expected that when the Deputy President came to this House, he was going to address this matter on a special way, Honorable Speaker. But I did not listen. I did not hear him. I did not hear the Deputy Speaker say when, where, how. The Deputy President, sorry. I did not hear the Deputy President, one Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, answer to the question of saying that one noble member of this House, the Honorable Jemachia, is a Malaya, Honorable Speaker. It concerns me, and I wanted the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua to tell this House where, how, when, who witnessed him sleep with one Jemachia and how he felt. We wanted to know, because we are not going to allow women to be used with derogatory language moving forward, Honorable Speaker. It is nobody's choice to be a Malaya. These are mothers. It is nobody's choice to be a Malaya. These are our sisters. It is not...
Time up. Peter Kaluma. Peter Kaluma. Peter Kaluma. Honorable members.
I thank you. Yeah, Honorable Speaker, I thank you in a very special way. Honorable Speaker, I have this benefit of speaking after listening both to the mover of the motion and to the Deputy President, who is the subject matter of this motion. And so, Honorable Speaker, I can look at it from all perspectives. Honorable Speaker, allow me to start by saying that I listened to the Deputy President, as I did to Honorable Mutuse, with the mind of a lawyer, looking at how the grounds have been addressed, their particulars, and how they have been addressed by the two respective parties. And Honorable Speaker, let me begin by saying that I don't know what happened, but we had Honorable Mutuse presented before this assembly a motion seeking to impeach the Deputy President on up to 11 grounds. And Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether it is by act of omission or commission, or it is just the nature of some people. The deputy president focused on those matters concerning property, money, integrity, procurement, forgetting the most fundamental issues. And I want to say that even when he addressed those money issues, there are very patent gaps going to constitutional violations which are stated in the motion to be gross. I expected the deputy president, for instance, to use the opportunity you accorded him, Honorable Speaker, to explain that SMS which came from his son Ikunu Gachagua on the bid bond issue involving that company. No mention of that at all. Honorable Speaker, before I go to the matters I want to address in substance, let me thank you, the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, for ensuring that the process this House is going through has been very fair. And in doing so, Honorable Speaker, for according and upholding and protecting the provisions of Article 47 of the Constitution. I hear people still saying that the courts will intervene. But I'm thanking you for this, Honorable Speaker, because the only time the courts intervene is if we have not secured a party procedural fairness. This motion was advertised across the country for the participation of Kenyans. And Honorable Speaker, allow me to reiterate this short data in 1 minute. 146,429 Kenyans said that the deputy president should be impeached. And that, Honorable Speaker, constitutes 65.11% of the people of Kenyans. 76,026 of Kenyans said the deputy president should not be impeached, coming to 33.8% of those Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, 2,452 Kenyans said Kufa Makanga, Kufa Dereva, and those other things. And there are the others. And Honorable Speaker, in terms of our constituency, which is Homa Bay Town constituency, 1,080 Kenyans whom I represent said the deputy president should be impeached. And Honorable Speaker, that constitutes 89.81% of the population of the people of Homa Bay who are duly notified. 54 Kenyans in Homa Bay Town constituency, constituting 5%, said the deputy president should not be impeached. And then 56, which is another percentage there, said other things, including Kufa driver, Kufa Makanga. Honorable Speaker, let me clarify this other issue also. That the courts have persistently and consistently said that public participation must be meaningful. If public participation should be meaningful, and Honorable Speaker, you made it so open at the county headquarters involving all constituencies, and then all constituency officers remained open on that day, and you notified it to the public, Honorable Speaker, following that order of court, then really there is nothing much for us to continue debating here. If public participation is to be meaningful, then the Kenyans have spoken. And as their representatives, we can only give meaning to what they say during public participation by securing what they have said, which is that the deputy president should be impeached. Honorable Speaker, because I'm running fast, let me say that this constitution has been termed a living document. And Honorable Speaker, if you look at ground one, people take it lightly. But Honorable Speaker, the idea of the unity of our nation has been the one thing which has been disturbing the people of Kenya in terms of being a nation for very long. Honorable Speaker, allow me to read the preamble of the Constitution. And this is what it says. We, the people of Kenya, proud of our ethnic, cultural, and religious diversity, and determined to live in peace and unity as one indivisible sovereign nation. When the Kenyans were making this constitution, they identified the need for unity as one people, as one thing they are to deal with. Honorable Speaker, I request the members to look at Article 4, Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution. It says Kenya is a multi-party democratic state founded on the national values and principles of governance under Article, which were identified by the people of Kenya during constitution making as the things which Kenya needs to address are the following, Honorable Speaker. Patriotism, national unity, sharing and devolution of power, the rule of law, democracy and participation of the people, human dignity, equity, social justice, inclusiveness, equality, human rights, non-discrimination, and protection of the marginalized. Honorable Speaker, at the very heart of a nation is equal ownership and equal sharing in the resources of the nation. It cannot be therefore, Honorable Speaker, that a state officer at the level of the Deputy President is singing to other Kenyans how they are shareholders and they don't belong to this country. And Honorable Speaker, it saddens me that having given him the opportunity, the Deputy President did not proffer a defense, the Deputy President did not offer an apology, but the Deputy President said other people are also doing it. Honorable Speaker, let me say an impeachment motion proceeds in personam. It proceeds against a specific person. You may say Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga.
Give him 1 minute to wind up. Wind up, Kaluma.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, it does not matter. This motion we have is against a person. You cannot have a motion for impeachment against Kaluma and somebody. Those who are saying Kufa driver, Kufa Makamba, bring the driver and we will also consider it on the merit. And on account of that, Honorable Speaker, this person must go. Honorable Speaker, in the few seconds remaining, let me say that when Westgate came under attack, I lost a cousin in the name of Jackton Port. He was the first one to be shot there. When Garissa University came under attack, Honorable Speaker, I lost Solomon Oludo from Marindi, a son of our land I educated at Ubiero Primary School. Honorable Speaker, we have no problem holding the security apparatus of the nation, to account. But Honorable Speaker, we cannot have a situation where you talk that recklessly in public about our national intelligence service being dysfunctional. For a state which is permanently under terror, target, and attack. And by the way, in the Security Committee, each minute, we are fighting terrorists. You cannot speak that way and come back and say it is normal. Honorable Speaker, how can you be a principal assistant to the president when each time the president leaves the country, you are organizing rallies to incite ethnic animosity against your own government? Honorable Speaker, how can you be a principal assistant to His Excellency the President when the President is having a press conference in Nairobi and you are having a separate one instead of standing with him to calm the nation from Mombasa to say that the President, in fact, there is a problem and is a dysfunction in government?
Time up. Mutuse, you have 15 minutes.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I begin my reply to the motion, please allow me to table additional documents, being a newspaper advert that was placed by His Excellency the Deputy President in today's newspapers, and also the video recording of his speech yesterday, because they are material to these proceedings.
Go ahead. Request granted.
Mr. Speaker, I have tabled the two documents, electronic and physical, because during the course of this debate, members in many instances had referred to them, and therefore it is only fair that they are part of the record. Number two, Mr. Speaker, allow me to thank...
The documents were available to me earlier, and I ruled that they are admitted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes. I want to be very brief because I know the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya wants to make a decision on the matter of impeachment of His Excellency Gachagua. Mr. Speaker, to begin with is to thank colleague members of Parliament from both sides of the House for the robust debate in terms of the motion that we presented before the House this morning. Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank Kenyans in their millions from all over the Republic, because in the course of this debate, Kenyans have been commending, Kenyans have been exercising their democratic right through public participation, through their right to odd opinions, and we have not witnessed a single incident of violence anywhere in the Republic. There had been vitisho that if you table an impeachment motion for a person of the magnitude of the Deputy President, there may be violence, people will lose lives, but I thank Kenyans because Kenyans have proven once again that we are a peaceful country and we are able to engage in our democratic processes without violence. Mr. Speaker, allow me to re-examine some of the few issues that have come through the response. First is to let Kenyans know that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has filed a response of 501 pages, and the response has come at 4 p.m., and I was only being able to be given the response about an hour ago. And therefore, in terms of the doctrine of equality of arms, I feel that I needed adequate time so that I may be able, during my reply, to respond to some of the things that he has raised in his response. However, be that as it may, I want to refer members to page 99 of his response. In the morning, I did tell members that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has acquired properties through corruption and through money laundering. And when he has come before this House, he has told you that the hotel that he acquired in Nyeri was acquired through a loan. However, the only document exhibited as evidence of that loan is a letter of offer from Credit Bank Limited. There is no evidence exhibited by Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, the current Deputy President, to the effect that the loan was actually finalized, to the effect that he actually got the loan. Mr. Speaker, as a term of the letter of offer, in terms of lien and set-off, and I read, a lien and set-off of a fixed deposits of LN Crystal Kenya Limited for an aggregate amount of 300 million Kenya shillings. Interest accrued shall be credited to your deposit settlement account. Mr. Speaker, in simple terms, what this means is that Mr. Rigathi Gachagua had a fixed amount in cash of 300 million in his account, which was going to be used as a security. I asked Mr. Rigathi Gachagua to tell us where he had gotten these 300 million, if my allegations that he's laundering money are not true. And therefore, by virtue of his response, it confirms my assertions that he has monies, he has wealth, he has cash that is suspect. If you may give me my phone. In terms of whether Kenya is a company or not.
Do you want information from member for West Mugirango?
Yes, you may.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I want to inform the Honorable Mutuse that the director for Credit Bank Kenya Limited is one Grace Nyachai, who hails from Nyeri and is a relative of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, and therefore I say no more.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is important for this House to note that in the morning, I did present evidence of suspicious money transactions. I did present evidence that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, either by himself or through relatives or through proxies, has acquired properties that are way beyond his known sources of income, and that evidence remains uncontroverted. Turning, Mr. Speaker, to the issue of whether Kenya is a company owned by shareholders. Mr. Rigathi Gachagua is playing with the intelligence of members of parliament and with the intelligence of Kenyans by attempting to twist facts. First, in terms of the law, companies are registered under the Companies Act. They are not registered under the Political Parties Act. So to come before Kenyans and to say that there were coalition agreements registered and therefore those coalition agreements are companies is to play around with our intelligence, because we know companies are registered under the Companies Act, they are not registered under the Political Parties Act. Further, Mr. Speaker, this Rigathi Gachagua was selectively chosen the sections of the Kenya Kwanza's coalition agreement to rely on, and he has failed to read the document in whole. Under clause 20 of the Kenya Kwanza coalition agreement, that clause provides as follows: that there is need to achieve an inclusive government that reflects the face of Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua chose not to tell us that the coalition agreement also talked about the face of Kenya and not a company of some people to the exclusion of others. Clause 6 of the Kenya Kwanza coalition agreement provides for respect for constitutionalism. The articles of the Constitution that I stated. It provides for respect to the rule of law. It provides for respect to the national values and principles of government under Article 10. And it provides for respect to devolution. Mr. Rigathi Gachagua did not tell us that. Clause 22G of the coalition agreement among the Kenya Kwanza political parties provides that there will be adjustments that may be necessary to accommodate the development priorities of other parts of the country to ensure equitable distribution of Kenya's national resources and wealth for the benefit of every citizen and every part of Kenya. This Mr. Rigathi Gachagua could not tell you because it was going to destroy his case. And therefore, honorable members, I urge you to find that Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, in his assertions about shareholding and a company, it was not in reference to political parties, it was in reference to regions, it was in reference to communities, and the evidence that we provided remains uncontroverted, and this ground must be confirmed. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of KEMSA, again, to show a man who is a flip-flop, yesterday on live television, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua admitted that he personally called Dr. Andrew Mulwa by his own phone yesterday on television. Today, appearing before us, he denies that he did not call him. So, which part of his testimony do we believe? Do we believe the testimony that he gave yesterday on national television, that he did call Dr. Andrew Mulwa, and that he sent his own son to Dr. Andrew Mulwa to collect the bid bond? Or do we believe the testimony that he has brought today, altered testimony that he has brought today? I urge you to find that Mr. Rigathi Gachagua indeed did call to influence investigations. On the issue of cabinet, Mr. Speaker, if you may allow me just 1 minute. On the issue of cabinet resolution, he has admitted and proceeded to justify that despite the existence of a valid cabinet decision in a cabinet meeting that he sat, he chose to defy that cabinet decision. And for that reason, Mr. Gachagua, by his own admission, must be removed from government. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, this is the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya. And for the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya to assert its constitutional authority, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua must be impeached today. I urge members. Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, we have heard from members here, has made inflammatory remarks against the women of the Republic. For the respect of the women of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua must be impeached today. We have heard that Mr. Rigathi Gachagua has disinherited the widows of his own brother. And for the widows of Kenya, beginning from Madeira, to be safe, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua must be impeached today. And therefore, I urge members to find favor with my motion from clause 1 to clause 11. And as you vote to impeach Mr. Rigathi Gachagua. I thank you, Mr. Speaker,
I beg to move.
and I beg to move.
Thank you. Honorable members on their feet, take your seats. Take your seats. Take your seats. Brighton, take your seats. Today you are very mobile. Honorable members, order. Honorable members, Honorable Jeho, take your seat. Honorable members, we are coming to the end of this motion. And before I put the question, this is one motion where there is no voice vote. We'll go straight into division, so that no ayes have it at the putting of the question. The House Business Committee yesterday deliberated on the manner of voting, and it was unanimously agreed that there will be a roll call vote. There will be a roll call vote. That being the case, we should be done, if we are orderly, we should be done in the next 30 minutes to 40 minutes, maximum 1 hour. When we start voting, order. When we start voting, I'll instruct the clerk and the teller, having conducted yourselves exemplarily well, any member who precedes his or her vote with a preamble or a speech or a statement will be a spoiled vote. Once you are called, order. The vote is simply yes or no. Time for speeches have extinguished in the debate. I now put the question. Of course, there are always three: yes, no, abstention. Order, member for West Mugirango. There's nothing out of order. Honorable members, I now put the question, which is that, pursuant to the provisions of Articles 145 and 151B and 2 of the Constitution and Standing Order 64 and 65, this House resolves to remove from office by impeachment His Excellency Honorable Gachagua, EGH, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, on the following grounds. 1. Gross violation of Articles 10(2)A and B and C, 27(4), 73(1)A, 2 and B, 75(1)C, 129(2) of the Constitution, and Article 147(1) as read together with Article 131(2)C and D of the Constitution. 2. Gross violation of Articles 147(1) and 152(1) of the Constitution by undermining the President and the Cabinet and the effective discharge of the national government executive mandate. 3. Gross violation of Articles 6(2), 10(2)A, 174, 186(1), 189(1), and the fourth schedule to the Constitution by undermining devolution. 4. Gross violation of Article 161 of the Constitution on the institutional and decisional independence of judges. 5. Gross violation of Articles 3(1) and 148(5)A of the Constitution on the fidelity to the oath of office and allegiance. 6. Serious reasons to believe that His Excellency the Deputy President has committed crimes under Sections 13(1)A, and 62 of the National Cohesion and Integration Act. 7. Serious reasons to believe that His Excellency the Deputy President has committed gross economic crimes under sections 45(1), 46, 47A(3), and 48(1) of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act and sections 2, 3, 4, and 7 of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act. 8. Serious reasons to believe that His Excellency the Deputy President has committed crimes by continuously misleading members of the public through false, malicious, divisive, and insightful remarks that are contrary to the provisions of Section 132 of the Penal Code and Section 29 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. 9. Gross misconduct that is incompatible with the high calling and dignified status of the office of the Deputy President, a member of the Cabinet and the National Security Council. His Excellency the Deputy President has publicly attacked and undermined the work of the National Intelligence Service and its officers. 10. Gross misconduct by openly or publicly insubordinating the President, who is the head of state and government. And 11. Gross misconduct by persistently bullying state and public officers. I now direct that the division bell be rung for 5 minutes. Then thereafter, we will go into voting process. As we do so, can the whips give us? Yes, Jeanette?
Mr. Speaker, I propose that only the whips should be allowed to go out of the chambers, Mr. Speaker. The rest should remain seated. Yeah. Only the whips should be allowed to go out, Mr. Speaker. The rest of the members can sit and hold their things on the.
That's the rule. That's the rule.
Good evening. If you're just tuning in, the National Assembly has been debating the special motion by the Honourable Member Mwengi Mutuse on the proposed removal by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. The Honourable Member in the special motion did advance 11 accusations against the Deputy President, and among them his gross violation of Articles 10, Subarticle 2A, B, and C, Article 27, Subarticle 4, Article 73, Subarticle 1A, Article 2B, Article 75, 1C, Article 129, Subarticle 2 of the Constitution, and Article 147, Subarticle 1, as read together with Article 131, Subarticle 2C and D of the Constitution, that the Deputy President has persistently made utterances threatening to discriminate, exclude, and unlawfully deny sections of the people of Kenya and regions of the Republic of Kenya equal opportunities for public service appointments and allocation of public resources. Another charge is that the Deputy President has made unilateral public statements inconsistent with policy positions collectively adopted by the government and contradicted the President on critical matters of governance and the exercise of the President's functions as a symbol of national unity. That His Excellency, the Deputy President, interfered with the running of Nairobi City County Government by inciting citizens against lawful directives of the county government on the planning and relocation of markets and publicly disparaging the leadership of the county government and its decisions. Charge 4. that His Excellency the Deputy President has undermined the institutional and decisional independence of a judge through public attacks on a judge of the High Court of Kenya and falsely threatening to file a petition for the removal of the said judge in a matter in which he was a party. Another charge is that the Deputy President breached his oath of office and allegiance on account of the utterances and actions attributed to the Deputy President under grounds 1, 2, and 3. Charge 6, that the Deputy President has persistently made inflammatory, reckless, insightful public utterances over the last 2 years in contravention of the law. Charge 7, that His Excellency the Deputy President has committed gross economic crimes, namely conflict of interest, abuse of office, and conspiracy to commit crimes under sections by inexplicably amassing property estimated at 5.2 billion shillings that is incompatible with his known legitimate income and by trading with the office of the Deputy President through proxies. Another charge is serious reasons to believe that His Excellency the Deputy President has committed crimes by continuously misleading members of the public through false, malicious, divisive, and insightful remarks that are contrary to the provisions of Section 132 of the Penal Code and Section 29 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. Charge 9, gross misconduct that is incompatible with the high calling and dignified status of the office of the Deputy President, a member of the Cabinet and the National Security Council. His Excellency the Deputy President has publicly attacked and undermined the work of the National Intelligence Service and its officers. Charge 10, gross misconduct by openly or publicly insubordinating the President, who is the head of state and government, and Charge 11, gross misconduct by persistently bullying state and public officers. The Deputy President was some minutes after 5 p.m. given the opportunity by the National Assembly to defend himself against these 11 allegations that have been leveled in this special motion which the members of the National Assembly have been debating today. And right now, the respective leadership in the House is whipping members to come into the chambers to allow the division to proceed. Remember that this requires more than 200 or at least 233 members of the National Assembly voting in affirmative, and they will be doing so through a roll call. Standing Order 65 Standing Order 65
Honorable members, take your seats. Whips, you are satisfied your members are all in the House? Take your seats. Okay. You have 2 minutes. Members who are on their feet, take your seats. Thank you.
Standing Order 65 of the National Assembly provides for the procedure for removal of the Deputy President. And it says that where a member proposes the removal of the deputy president on the grounds of physical or mental incapacity in terms of Article 150, sub-Article 1A of the Constitution, Standing Order 63, which talks about procedure for removal of president on grounds of incapacity, shall, with necessary modifications, apply. It
We'll have to do something about these mics. Take your seats, honorable members. Osoro and Millie, are all your troops in the house? I want to draw the bar. Draw the bar. Take your seats. Honorable members, you may take your seats now. Honorable Dani Wanyama, take your seat. Honorable Minority Whip, take your seat. Honorable members, I have been given the following as whips, as tellers. For the ayes, the Honorable Zaire Janda MP and the Honorable Jared Okello MP. For the nays, the Honorable Onesmus Ngogoyo and Honorable Jane Njeri. You may come forward and join the clerks at the table. Now the voting order, the voting will be as follows. Order. We will start by calling out the Honorable Samal, member for Isiolo. Is it West? Isiolo North. You all know Honorable Samal has a condition and he needs to be assisted. So the clerk and the tellers will go to where he is. The clerk and one on either side go and take Honorable Samal's vote. Once you are done, the constituencies are numbered alphabetically from A to Z. So we'll start with probably Ainamoi is normally the first, and we'll end up with the last. Pardon? Yes. Okay, Njoroge, take the vote of Honorable Samal, Honorable Kosge, and Honorable Wanyonyi. Then go alphabetically for everybody else. And when voting is going on, members, you must remain in your seats. You must remain silent and let the process go on uninterrupted, the same way you have been orderly the whole day. Of course, I put the question, pardon? Yes? Toto has already indicated to the clerks that she'll wait and vote like everybody else. So she's not in a special case. Is Mother Wangara also lactating? I didn't know that. Now, clerk, those who are supporting the motion are voting yes. Those who are not are voting no. The tellers are, as I've told you, for yes, Janda and Okello, for no's, Kasheri and Gogoyo. Clerk, over to you.
Voting starts now. Isiolo North, Lomwa Joseph Samal. Westlands, Wetangula Timothy Wanyonyi. Nominated member, Jackson Kosgei Kipkemoi.
Who will go there? Go.
I, Tim Wanyonyi, Member of Parliament for Westlands, I vote no. I vote yes. I vote yes.
Order, honorable members. He has voted yes. Order.
I, Jackson Kipkemoi Koskei, nominated Member of Parliament, I vote yes.
Yes. I'll stop them. You are done with Honorable Samal? He can't talk. Honorable members, for the rest of the members, when your name is called, don't repeat your name. Just vote yes or no. Okay, go ahead, Njoroge.
Ainab Koi. Samuel Chepkonga. Aina Moi, Benjamin Langat. Aldai, Marian Kitani. Alego Usonga, Samuel Atandi. Awendo, John Walter Owino. Bahati, Irene Joki. Balambala, Shurie Abdi Omar. Baringo County, Florence Jamatia. Baringo Central, Joshua Kandie. Baringo North, Joseph Maglap. Baringo South, Charles Cameron. Belgut, Nelson Koech. Bobasi, Innocent Obiri. Bobasi, Innocent Obiri. Bamachoge Borabu, Nolfason Obadia. Bamachoge Chache, Alpha Miruka Ondieki. Bomet County, Linet Chepkorir Toto. Bomet Centro, Richard Cheriot Kilel. Bomet East, Richard Kipkemoi Yegon. Bonchari, Charles Onchoke. Bonchari, Charles Onchoke.
He's voted yes.
Bondo, Gideon Ochanda. Borabu, Patrick Osero. Budalangi, Raphael Sauti Bita Wanjala. Bomula, Nelson Jack Wamboka. Bungoma, Kadri Nanjala Wabilianga. Bura, Kuno Yakub Ado. Bureti, Kibet Kirui Komingoi. Busia County, Omanyo Kadri Nahambi. Omanyo Kadri Nahambi. Butere Nicholas Tindi Mwale. Butula Joseph Oyula. Buuri Muruidhania Rindikiri Mugambi. Central Imenti Moses Nguchine Kirima. Central Imenti Moses Kirima Nguchine. Changamwe Omar Mwinyi. Chebalungu Victor Kipngetich Koech. Cherangani Patrick Simiyu Barasa. Cherangani Patrick Simiyu Barasa. Chesumei Paul Biego. Chuka Iganga Ngombe Patrick Ntuega Munene. Dadab Farama Alim. Dagoretti North Beatrice Elachi. Dagoretti South John Kerry Waweru. Eldama Ravine Musa Sirma. Eldas Adan Kenan. Elgeyo Marakwet County Ngerechei Jepto Caroline. Embakasi Central Gadhiro Majadonk Benjamin. Embakasi East Babu Owino Ongili. Embakasi East Babu Owino Ongili. Embakasi North James Gakuya. Embakasi South Julius Mawade. Embakasi West Mark Samuel Mwenje Mureithi. Embakasi West Mark Samuel Mwenje Mureithi. Embu County Double N Pamela Njoki. Mgwen. Njoki is? No. Njoki is no. Mgwen. Lelmengit Joseph Gipto. Emuhaya Omboko Milemba. Emura Dikir Johanna Ngeno. Endebes Robert Pukose. Fafi Yakub Farah. Funyula Oundo Wilberforce. Galole Said Buya Hiribae Said Poster. Ganze Charo Kenneth Tungule. Garissa County Udgon Amina Siad. Garissa Township Major Deko Baro. Garsen Ali Wario Guyo. Katanga Wakili Mureu. Gatondo North Kururia Njoroge. Gatondo North Kururia Njoroge. Gatondo South Gabriel Gaduka Kagombe. Gem Elisha Odhiambo. Gichugu Robert Gichimu. Gilgil Mother Wangari Wanjira. Gilgil Mother Wangari Wanjira. Gilgil Mother Wangari Wanjira. Githunguri Gathoni wa Muchomba. Hamisi Charles Gumini Gimose. Homa Bay County Bensuda Joyce Osogo.
Pardon? Take the vote again. Order Bensuda utaitwa tena.
Homa Bay Town.
Order, members, order.
Homa Bay Town, George Peter Kaluma. Igembe Central, Daniel Karido Kili. Igembe North, Taitumu Julius. Igembe South, John Paul Mwirigi. Ijara, Abdi Ali Abdi. Ikolomani, Shinali Bernard. Isiolo County, Mumina Bonaya. Isiolo North, Isiolo South, Bidu Tubi Mohammed. Jomvu Badibadi Twalib. Juja George Koimburi. Kabete James Gedua wa Mashukuru. Kabete James Gedua wa Mashukuru. Kabondo Kasipul Ivo Bara. Kabuchai Kalasinga Joseph. Kacheliba Lote Titus. Kacheliba Lote Titus. Kaiti Joshua Kivinda Kimilu. Kaiti Joshua Kivinda Kimilu. Kaiti Joshua Kivinda Kimilu. Kajiado County Lea Sankaire. Kajiado County Lea Sankaire. Kajiado Central Memusi Elijah. Kajiado East Kakuta Maimai. Kajiado North Onesimus Ngogoyo. Kajiado South Parashina Samuel Sakimba. Kajiado West Sunkuya George. Kakamega County Elsie Muhanda. Kaloleni Paul Katana. Kamukonji Hassan Yusuf. Kamukonji Hassan Yusuf. Kamukonji Hassan Yusuf. Kandara Chege Njuguna. Kandui John Makali. Kangema Peter Kihungi. Kagundo Fabian Chule, Kapenguria Samuel Moroto, Kapsaret Oscar Sudi, Kapsaret Oscar Sudi,
Karachuonyo Okwome Andrew Adipo, Kasarani Karauri Ronald Kamwiko, Kasipul Were Charles Ongondo, Kathiani Mbui Robert, Keyo North Korir Adams Kipsanai, Keyo South Kipkoech Gideon Kimayo, Kericho Kemei Beatrice Chemweno, Keses Ruto Julius Kipleting, Keses Kuisero Wangaya Christopher Aseka, Kiamba Wanjiko John Jogona, Kiambu Waidaka John Mashua, Kiambu Waidaka John Mashua,
Kiambu Town. He's not here.
Kiambu Murada Ann Wajiko Mugo, Kibra Orero Peter Ochieng, Kibwezi Mbalu Jessica Nduku Kiko, Kibwezi West Mutuse Ekomas Mwengi, Kieni Wainaina Anthony Njoroge, Kieni Wainaina Anthony Njoroge, Kigumo Munyoro Joseph Kamau, Keharu Nyoro Samson Dindi, Kikuyu Ishungwa Anthony Kemani, Kilgoris Sunkuli Julius Lekakeny, Kilifi Mwanyanje Gertrude Mbeyu, Kilifi North Baya Owen Ya, Kilifi South Kiti Richard Ken Chonga, Kilome Zambia Thaddeus Kethua, Kimilili Mutua Didmas Wekesa Barasa, Kiminini Bisao Morris Kakai, Kinango Rai Samuel Gonzi, Gonzi Rai, Kinangop Thuku Zakari Kwenya, voted. Is voted. Kipipiri Muhia Wanjiko, Kipkelion East Cheroro Joseph Kimutai, Kipkelion West Hilary Kiplangat Koskei, Kirinyaga Jen Jerry Maina, Kirinyaga Central Gitari Joseph Gashoki, Kirinyaga Central Joseph Gashoki Gitari, Kisauni Bedzimba Rashid Juma, Kisi Donya Doris Aburi, Kisumu Busia Ruth Adhiambo Odinga, Kisumu Central Oron Joshua Odongo, Kisumu East Ahmed Shakil Ahmed Shabir, Kisumu West Rosa Akinyebuyu, Kitui Irene Modoni Kasalu,
Kitui East, Nimrod Midhuka Mbai. Kitui Central, Makali Benson Mulu. Kitui Rural, Mboni David Mwalika. Nyamai Rachel Kaki, Kitui South. Edith Vethi Nyanze, Kitui West. Mokaya Nyakundi Japheth, Kitutu Chache North. We take it from where? I will repeat from Kitui South. Rachel Kaki Nyamai.
She voted.
Yes. Nyanza Edith Vethi.
She voted.
Nyakundi Japheth Mokaya. I vote yes. Kibagendi Anthony. Kitutu Chache South.
Amesema? No. Kibagendi amesema? Kibagendi kama Kibagendi.
Kitutu Chache South, Kibagendi Anthony. Clive, Kitutu Masabak, Clive Ombane Gisairo. Konoin, Brighton Leonard Yegon. Kuresoi North, Mutai Alfred Kibrono. Kuresoi North. Okay. Joseph Kipkoske Tanui, Kuresoi South. Okay. Kuria East, Masairo Marwa Kitayama. Kuria West, Robi Matthias Nyamabe. Kwale, Masito Fatuma Hamisi. Kwanza, Wanyonyi Ferdinand Kevin. Lafi, Abdurrahman Mohammed Abdi. Lakdera, Mohammed Abdikadir Hussein. Laikipia, Jane Wangeshi Kagiri. Laikipia East, Festus Mwangi Kionjuri. Laikipia North, Sarah Paulata Korere. Ndio. Laikipia West, Stephen Washira Karani. Laisamis, Joseph Lekutom. Lamu, Monica Mudoni Marufu. Lamu East, Obor Weida Muhammad. Lamu West, Modama Stanley Moiruri. Langata, Felix Odiwor Kode. Kahangara, Larry, Joseph Mburu Kahangara. Likoni, Mishi Juma Hamisi Mboko. Likuyani, Innocent Maino Mugabe. Limuru, John Kiragu Shege. Loima, Akuja Protas Ewesit. Luanda, Dick Maungu Oyugi. Thank you. Nabi Nabwera Daraja Lugari. Lunga Chiforomondo Mangale Munga. Lurambi Titus Hamala Mkhwana. Mara Jafet Miriti Kareke Mbuki. Machakos Joyce Kamene. Machakos Town, Caleb Mutiso Mule. Okay. Yeah, what? George Aladwa Omwera Makadara. Makweni Kiamba Susan Dunge. Makueni, Women Rep, Mumo Rose Museo. Absent. Can I repeat? Makueni, Mumo Rose Museo. Malava, Moses Malulu Injendi. Malindi, Amina Laura Munyazi. Mandera North, Abdullahi Bashir Sheikh. Mandera, Khair Kasim Sheikh. Mandera East, Abdurrahman Hussein Wetan Mohammed. Mandera South, Abdul Ibrahim Haro. Mandera West, Yusuf Adan Haji. Manyata, John Gitonga Mwaniki Mokunji. Maragwa, Mary Wamaua Waidira Njoroge. Marakwet East, David Kangogo Bowen. Marakwet West, Timothy Kipchumba Toroitich. Marsabit, Naomi Jilo Wako. Masinga, Mwalio Joshua Mbithi Mutua. Masinga, Joshua Mbithi Mutua Mwalio. Matayos, Geoffrey Makoha Modanga. Madare, Anthony Oluoch. Madioya, Edwin Mugo Gishoki. Okay. Madira, Kahugu Eric Mwangi. Matuga, Tandaza Kasim Sawa. Okay. Matungu, Nabulindo Peter Oscar. Is there? Yeah, Tandaza is there. Can I repeat Matuga? Matuga, Tandaza Kasim Sawa. Okay, asante. Matungulu, Mule Stephen Mutinda. Mavoko, Kingola Patrick Makau. Mbere North, Geoffrey Kariuki Kiringa. Mbere South, Nebat Bernard Murioki. Mbooni, Nzioka Erastus Kivasu. Meru, Kailemia Elizabeth Karab. Migori, Mohammed Fatuma Zainab. Mogotio Kiborek Ruben. Moiben Phyllis Jepkemoy Barto. Molo Francis Kuria Kimani. Mombasa Zamzam Muhammad Chimba. Mosob Abraham Kipsang Kirwa. Moyale Jaldesa Guyo Wako. Msambweni Jaldesa. Okay, capture, thank you. Msambweni Badr Salim Faisal. Mount Elgon Fred Kapondi Chesebe. Muhoroni James Onyango Oyo. Mukorweini Gishoi Kagusha John Philip. Mumias East Salasia Peter Kalerwa. Mumias West Naika Johnson Manya. Moranga Betty Njeri Maina. Mvita Mohamed Saud Machele. Mwala Musau Vincent Musioka. Okay, done. Mwatate Peter Mbogo Shake. Peter Mbogo Shake. Thank you. Mwea Mary Maingi. Mwingi Central Gideon Muteme Mulyungi. Mwingi North Paul Musimi Nzengu. Mwingi West Charles Ngusi Anguna. Nairobi City Esther Mudhoni Pasaris. Naivasha Kihara Jane Wanjiru Njeri. Nakuru Chelule. Can I repeat Naivasha? Kihara Jane Wanjiru Njeri. Nakuru Liza Chepkorir Chelule. Nakuru Town East Gikaria David. Nakuru Town West Arama Samuel. Nambale Mulanya Geoffrey Ekesa. Nandi Cynthia Chepkoske Muge. Nandi Hills Bernard Kibor Kitur. Narok Rebecca Nonaishi Tonke. Narok East Lemanken Aramat. Narok North Agnes Mantaine Pareye. Narok South Olentutu Kitilai. Narok West Gabriel Koshal Tongoyo. Navaholo Emmanuel Wangwe. Ndaragwa Gachagua George N. Ndiwa Martin Peter Sowino. Ndia GK George Masharia Kariuki. Njoro Charity Katambi Chepkwony. North Hor Guyo Adi Wario. North Imenti Abdul Rahim Dawood. North Mogirango Joash Nyamache Nyamoko. Nyakach Joshua Aduma War. Nyali Mohammed Ali Mohammed. Nyamira Jerusha Momanyi Mongina.
Mohammed Ali is here.
Yes, he's voted. I repeat, Nyamira Jerusha Momanyi Mongina. Thank you. Nyandarua Gitao Faith Wairemo. Nyando Okelo Jared Odoyo.
Nyando votes yes.
Yaribari Chache Zahid Janda.
Yes.
Yaribari Masaba Daniel Ogwo Kamanduku. Nyatike Tom Boya Odege. Nyeri Rahab Mokami Washira. Nyeri Town Duncan Maina Madenge. Oljororok Moshira Michael Mwangi. Olkalau David Joguna Kiaraho. Odaya Michael Wambogo Wainaina. Pokot South David Losiakau Kosing. Rabai Mupe Anthony Nkenga. I have been asked to repeat Pokot South.
He said yes.
Pokot South, Kosing David Losiakau. Thank you. Rabai Anthony Kenga Mupe. Rangwe Gogo Linian Achieng. Rarieda Amolo Paul Otiende. Rongai Paul Kibetchebor. Rongo Paul Abur. Roysambu Agustin Kamade Mwafrika. Ruaraka Francis Kajwang Tom Joseph. Yes. Roiro Kingara Simon Nganga. Runyenjes Karemba Eric Muchangi Njiru. Sabatia Sloya Clement Logova. Saboti Caleb Amisi Luyai. Saku Raso Dido Ali. Samburu Pauline Lenguris. Samburu East Jackson Lekumontare Lentoijoni. Samburu North Dominic Eli Letipila. Samburu West Josephine Naisula Lesuda. Seme James Wambura Nyikal. Shinyalu Frederick Lusuli Ikana. Siaya Odwor Christine Ombaka. Sigor Peter Lochakapong. Sigor Awetsoin Justice Kipsang Kemei. Sirisia John Waluke Koi. Sotik Francis Kipiegon Arab Sige. South Imenti Idinji Shadrach Mwiti. South Mogirango Onyego Silvana Sosoro. Soy David Kiplagat. Starehe Maina Mwago Amos. Suba North Millie Grace Akoto Diambo. Suba South Karoli Omondi. Subukia Kashobe Samuel Kenudia. Suna East Mohammed Junaid Sheikh Nu. Suna West Peter Francis Masara. Taita Taveta Lydia Haika Mnene Mizigi. Tana River Amina Dika Abdullahi. Tarbaj Hussein Abdibare. Taveta John Okano Bwire. Teso North Edward Kaunya Oku. Teso South, can I repeat Teso North? Oku Edward Kaunya. Thank you. Teso North, Oku Edward Kaunya.
Yeah, yes, voted.
Sorry, Teso South, Otucho Mary Emase. Tetu, Geoffrey Wandeto Mwangi. Daraka, Murugara George Gitonga. Daraka Nithi, Susan Ngugi Nduyo. Thika Town, Nganga Alice Wamboi. Tiati, William Kamket Kasait. Tigania East, Lawrence Puruaburi. Tigania West, John Kanwithia Motunga. Tinderet, Julius Melikibiwot. Tongaren, John Murumba Chikati. Transoia, Lilian Chebetsiyoy. Tarbo, Janet Chepkemboy Sitiene. Turkana, Cecilia Asinyen Gitit. Turkana Central, Joseph Namwar Emathe. Turkana East, Nicholas Ngikor Nixon Ngikolong. Turkana North, Paul Ekwom Nabuin.
Is there?
Yeah. Okay. Turkana South, John Ariko Namoit. Turkana West, Daniel Epuyo Nanok. Wasingishu, Gladys Chepkoskei Boss. Ugenya, Ochieng David Ouma, Uriri, Nyamita Mark Ogola, Vihiga, Kagesi Kivai Ernest Ogesi, Vihiga, Adagala Beatrice Kahai, Voi, Hamis Chome Abdi, Wajir, Fatuma Abdi Jeho, Wajir West, Aden Daudi Muhammad, Wajir North, Ibrahim Abdi Sane, Wajir South, Muhammad Aden Ado, Wajir West, Yusuf Muhammad Farah, Webuye East, Martin Pepela Wanyoni, Webuye West, Daniel Wanyamasitati, West Mogirango, Mogaka Stephen, West Pokot, Rael Chepkemoy Kasiwai, Westlands, Timothy.
He is already voted.
Oh, sorry, we have done that, sorry. Undanyi, Mwakuona Danson Mwashako, Basil Robert Ngui Yata,
Is he here?
Ali Abdisirat Khalif, Sabina Wanjiru Shege, Joseph Hamisi Dena, my vote yes. Joseph Hamisi Dena. Okay. Suleka Hulbale Harun. Dorothy Mudoni Kiara. Joseph Wainaina Iraya. Irene Joseph Wainaina Iraya.
He's voted.
Okay.
Yes.
Irene Nyakerario Mayaka. Umulher Harun Muhammad. Teresia Wanjiro Mwangi. No. Abubakar Ahmed Tali.
Yeah?
Abubakar Tali. Thank you.
You finished? Honorable members, order. Is there any member present who has not had his or her name called out?
Is there?
Yes.
Good evening. You are watching the sitting of the National Assembly this evening, where the members have been voting on the proposed impeachment of the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. It was through a roll call as directed by the Speaker of the National Assembly. And what is currently happening is that the tallying of the votes is underway, and thereafter the pronouncement will be made as to how the members of the National Assembly voted this evening. This special motion was moved by the Honorable Member Mwengi Mutuse, and in that special motion he did list 11 grounds on the reasons as to why the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, should be impeached as Kenya's second in command. The Member of Parliament cited gross violation of various articles, and also he did cite serious reasons to believe that the Deputy President has committed gross economic crimes. under Section 45, subsection 1, Section 46, Section 47A3, and Section 48(1) of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, and Section 2, 3, 4, and 7 of Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act. Those are some of the reasons that the honorable member believes that this House should take serious consideration of this special motion to dismiss the Deputy President, who we did hear from this evening between 5 and 7 when he appeared before the National Assembly and made his case, defending himself against accusations that have been leveled against him. And in a couple of minutes, we will hear the results of this division, this historic constitutional moment for the country. And all that you will watch live courtesy of the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in conjunction with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. The National Assembly was guided by the standing orders, the procedure for removal of the Deputy President, where a member proposes the removal of the Deputy President on the grounds of physical or mental incapacity in terms of Article 150, Sub-Article 1A of the Constitution, Standing Order 63, which talks about the procedure for removal of President on grounds of incapacity shall, with necessary modifications, apply. And Part 2 of the Standing Order 65, where a member proposes to impeach the Deputy President in terms of Article 150, Sub-Article 1B of the Constitution, Standing Order 64, procedure for removal of President by impeachment shall apply with necessary modifications. So the members have been debating, and we will hear the result of this process anytime from now. Standing Order 64 of the National Assembly provides for the procedure for removal of President by impeachment. Now, the Standing Order 65 borrows heavily from Standing Order 64, and these procedures, they're quite a number, and some of them have been used in this business that the National Assembly began in the morning, and the culmination of it will be hard any time from now. And if you can see on your screen, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Gladys Bose, has taken the seat, and that means that she will perhaps be the one who will make the announcement after the tabulation and the tallying of the votes that has concluded, been done. The number required to vote in affirmative, according to the provisions of the Constitution, is 233 members. That is the threshold required to impeach the Deputy President. And there the Speaker has returned. The Deputy Speaker had been holding fort briefly, and anytime from now, the Speaker will call for the announcement of the votes, which are currently being verified. It was a requirement that voting be done via roll call, and any moment from now we will be hearing the result of that roll call. And just a quick recap of the 11 grounds which were outlined by the Honorable Member Mwenge Mutuse. That one, the Deputy President has persistently made utterances threatening to discriminate, exclude and unlawfully deny sections of the people of Kenya and regions of the Republic of Kenya equal opportunities for public service appointment and allocation of public resources. Ground 2, the Deputy President has made unilateral public statements inconsistent with policy positions collectively adopted by the government and contradicted the President on critical matters of governance and the exercise of the President's functions as a symbol of national unity. Ground 3, that His Excellency the Deputy President interfered with the running of Nairobi City County Government by inciting citizens against the lawful directives of the county government on the planning and relocation of markets and publicly disparaging the leadership of the county government and its decisions. Count 4, gross violation of Article 160, Sub-Article 1 of the Constitution on the institutional and decisional independence of judges. That His Excellency the Deputy President has undermined institutional and decisional independence of a judge through public attacks on a judge of the High Court of Kenya and falsely threatening to file a petition for the removal of the said judge in a matter in which he was a party. Number 5, that His Excellency the Deputy President breached his oath of office and allegiance on account of the utterances and actions attributed to the Deputy President under grounds 1, 2, and 3. And count 6, serious reasons to believe that His Excellency the Deputy President has committed crimes under Section 13(1)(a) and Section 62 of the National Cohesion and Integration Act. That His Excellency the Deputy President has persistently made inflammatory, reckless, and insightful public utterances over the last 2 years in contravention of the law. Charge 7, serious reasons to believe that His Excellency the Deputy President has committed gross economic crimes under Sections 45(1), Section 46, Section 47(a)(3), and Section 48(1) of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, and Section 2, Section 3, Section 4, and Section 7 of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act. That His Excellency the Deputy President has committed gross economic crimes, namely conflict of interest, abuse of office, and conspiracy to commit crimes under sections by inexplicably amassing property estimated at 5.2 billion shillings, that is incompatible with his known legitimate income, and by trading with the office of the Deputy President through proxies. Charge 8, serious reasons
Order, honorable members. Give me that. Give me this. Order. Order. Osoro. Order. Order.
Congratulations.
Order.
Congratulations.
Order, members. Take your seats. Order. Angol, take your seat. Order, members, take your seats. I know. Yes. Where's the adjournment note? Order, members, order. Take your seats. Order, honorable members, take your seats for the tellers. Take your seats. Honorable members, Haika, take your seat. Aburi, Aburi, take a seat. Ongoyos, take your seat. Take your seats, members. All is well that ends well. You have been very orderly, and I must salute you. Tell us, you may now approach the chair and announce the results.
Honorable Speaker, based on the responsibility you bestowed on me, Jared Okello, MP for Nyando, Zahir Janda, Honorable Onesmus Ngogoyo, and Honorable Njeri Maina, we are here to declare the results as follows, Honorable Speaker. The nays, 44. Abstentions, 1. And the ayes, 281.
Come forward. Order. Take your seats. Order, members, order. The House is still in session. Tell us, take your seats. Bensouda, take your seat. Order, members, order. Members, the results of the division on the motion are as follows. Abstentions, 1. The noes, 44. The ayes, 281. So the ayes have it. And the results brought to the Speaker are duly signed by all the 4 nominated tellers. Honourable members, I have a short communication following that. Before. Order. The House is still in session. I have the following communication to make, honourable members, before we open the bar. On the decision of the National Assembly, on the special motion on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Honorable members, as I had guided the House earlier in today's sitting, Article 145(2) of the Constitution sets a threshold of at least 2/3 of the members of the National Assembly to vote in support of a special motion for proposed removal by impeachment of the Deputy President of the Republic for the motion to be carried. According to the results of the division on the motion that I've just declared, a total of 281 members, being more than 2/3 of the members of the National Assembly, have voted in support of the motion. Article 145(2)(a) of the Constitution provides that, I quote, if a motion under Clause 1 is supported by at least 2/3 of all members of the National Assembly, the Speaker shall inform the Speaker of the Senate of the resolution within 2 days. In this regard, I'll proceed to discharge the singular duty placed on me by Article 145 2B of the Constitution and under which to notify the Speaker of the Senate of the resolution of the National Assembly. The clerk is directed to prepare the necessary documentations to accompany the resolution. The House will resume tomorrow, Wednesday, 9th October 2024, at 9:30 a.m. to resume with the regular business as scheduled by the House Business Committee. I thank you. Members, will you now be upstanding? Draw the bar. Draw the bar. Open the doors. Order, honorable members. Order. Order. Order, members. The House will now be adjourned until tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. I have.
You've been watching the sitting of the National Assembly where the House has approved the impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on 11 charges. The special motion was moved by the Honorable Member for Kibwezi West, Honorable Ecomas Mwengi Mutuse. This broadcast has been brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in conjunction with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Edward Kabasa. Thank you for watching.
We tread with excellence. We stand tall while others crumble.